I don't know. Like ASMR for me, like have exactly this opposite effect. Like it gets me really nervous.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm alone in there. Like just the idea of someone speaking like this for a
Oh
second.
yeah, yeah. Also, there's also like sounds I'm quite sensitive to, like scratching,
Oh,
anything that's like that kind of sounds,
I,
or
I, I have the
that.
same thing, but I think I'm gonna take the ASMR world by storm with the classic track 4 hours of Michi gasping for air as Green holds his head underwater. I think that's where we're
You
going
don't
with
have
this.
to, dude. I've got asthma. You don't have to hold my head underwater. Just like punch me in the chest.
Well,
4 hours,
if it's an
and
invitation,
yeah, grab my inhaler just outside of arm's reach.
45 minutes of Green pacing his room and
I'm
fucking yelling while he waits for Michi to show up.
I'm so
Uh,
tempted to search now waterboarding ASMR and see what happens.
it almost certainly exists. But this actually is a great entry point because I was taking my notes about Berserk, and when I was there, I was thinking, know what I should
What
do?
is Berserk?
I should lie. What?
What is Berserk?
Yeah.
Oh, Berserk.
I was just
Right
gonna
now.
say. I was just gonna say I didn't
Never
remember
heard of
Grafo
that.
ever mentioning Berserk, and I was like, I was like, has Grafo read
Oh,
Berserk? I'm like, I sure
yeah.
he must have. So if he
Wait,
wants to
Grafo,
be on the podcast,
you didn't think we were talking about the emotion, did you?
I thought you were gonna say the emoji for a second there,
No.
the famous
But-
Berserk emoji.
But I was just thinking, there is an egg emoji. I was just thinking,
Yeah, that's true.
I should do this crazy thing. I should tell Michi that the plan actually starts 15 minutes before it does to account for the fact that he always needs a snack the moment I send the invite.
No,
that
it's just every
reminded
time
me-
you send the invite, I think, fuck, I'm gonna be chatting for 3 hours, and my stomach's gonna start like growling. Then I'm gonna have to get up and fucking eat crisps on stream.
I know, if
No
only you
good.
had a 5-hour block of time before.
Well, I
but-
didn't,
but the
motherfucker. 'Cause I was
thing-
working.
but that reminded me of a scene that really jumped out at me. I just rewatched most of the 90, well, actually watched for the first time the 97 show.
Yes.
And
Oh,
one scene that really
thing
jumped
is
out
so
to me,
good.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
was the scene where Griffith is talking battle plans around his table, and people talk about, oh, Guts went off and acted fucking crazy again. And Griffith said, I accounted for the tendency of you to do that when I was making the plans. So actually, it was fine. And that was the beginning of me getting a lot more insight into Griffith's character this time around. And I want to get into that, but we'll get there.
I do.
First off,
I have been told several times that I do not look unlike Guts, face wise. I mean, not body wise, but I have like the same haircut and kind of like nose and ear shapes.
maybe
I look
when
pretty similar.
maybe when he was getting chased by Donovan, I don't. That might have been the last moment.
No, seriously, if I worked out, I would look like Guts.
Put baby Guts' head on Puck's body. That's Michi.
No, I look more like I look more like Heaven's Tower arc Guts.
I'm sure you do.
I do.
But I've seen you, motherfucker.
The only difference is that
You
Michi
look like
has still
Donovan.
2 eyes. I don't know where this
For
is
now.
going.
Yeah.
It's going here. I'm going to start. We're actually starting now. Okay, so the worst thing in the world happened.
Yes.
Miura died.
Yep.
He was only 54. It's easily the saddest thing in this world since the KyoAni fire. Probably
Yeah.
significantly worse for that in a big picture thing, although you're probably not supposed to say that.
I mean, for me, it
Uh,
is personally.
I didn't.
But yeah.
I didn't hear anything. Like everything froze suddenly.
Oh,
I just said Miura died and it's sad.
yeah.
Okay.
He was
Oh,
talking about
yeah.
how what a tragedy this is, and how
but-
nothing will ever be as good as Berserk ever. So we might as well just kill ourselves right now. No point in waiting for
Well-
other manga.
Well, I think
Uh,
that's the exact opposite of the message of Berserk, so maybe you should just read it again.
Wait, I know I never read it. Sorry. My
Oh,
bad.
You just
No.
looked at the pictures, I bet.
I just looked at
But-
you could probably get a fair like 80% of the story of Berserk just from the pictures. To be fair, it is a
That's
very visual
actually
story.
that's completely true.
That's how good the thing was.
Yeah, exactly. That's how good Miura was.
Yeah, talking about
Cut out
good.
the bubbles.
To kick this off, let's just take 2 or 3 minutes each. Let's start with Grafo here. Just your feelings on Berserk overall, its impact in your life. Just a introductory, just like gut thing. What are your feelings about this piece? Grafo, go.
Woo. Wow.
I love Berserk. It's completely fine.
Big question. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like real. Like art-wise, amazing. Just, but I think like aside of that, for me, what I like the most is the story, but more than anything, like the tone. Because like it's kind of rare to find, and I think like,
God damn it, why can't anything ever work?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why can't Berserk? Why did Miura have to die? Why does the call have to die? You know?
Okay, you know what? We're gonna.
Did you kick him or did he leave on his own?
No. He's probably trying to reconnect, or Zoom just dropped him.
Is he on his phone? He might be on his phone. No, probably not.
That would be fucking, of course.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take a chance to get some more ASMR in here. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a lesson. This is the meaning of Berserk. You have to.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
Me computer died. Just a second. Okay, so while he's doing that, Michi, God damn it, in like 2 or 3 minutes, just get your feelings about Berserk out there. Big picture.
No, I was planning to think of stuff while Grafo was talking.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No, okay. Well, feelings on. I mean, it's really hard to parse how massive, like, a part of my life it was and still is. Like I feel like I'm pretty hyperbolic on when I appear on this podcast and when we talk about stuff, and I'll usually be like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever seen, I love this, whatever, blah blah. But really, if there is one singular, like, I can point to it and just be like, yeah, that's why I draw it. It was Berserk. Like, we're talking like teenage me, just like copying panels, and the first like real art thing I did was this animation I did, which I basically just ripped off Shirky, or whatever you want to call her, the witch design, like, pretty much for my character.
I call her Shirk, but I don't know if it's Shirky. Is it Shirky?
I call her Shirk or something because I see the eye there, and Shirk sounds like shirking your responsibilities, and I don't know what the pronunciation is. Maybe Miura doesn't know either. Anyway, I was trying to think like what it's hard to think back. It was so long ago. It's been like 10 years now. But I remember like the first time. Berserk is one of those things where like you hear about it, but it's like kind of mid-range, like anime and manga fandom. It's not like one of the first things that you hear about when you're a kid. Like, you hear most about all this shonen-y stuff, and then sooner or later, like, someone's gonna mention Berserk. And you're like, what the fuck? I never heard of it because it wasn't in the bookstores here, And I remember just like reading it like in one gigantic sitting. What was out? Not like in. I had to stop for food and sleep and stuff. But yeah, because it's a very interesting experience. Because I recently reread it and going just back and being like, you start out as this violent like Mad Max, Fist of North Star, Evil Dead, mashed up into like a fantasy setting, and it seems very like edgy and kind of like immature, and the art like is still good at the very start, but it's not like mind-blowing, and you're just like, oh, this is just like a silly action thing. Oh, this dude's such a badass, he goes into the bar and he fucking kills some dudes, it chops off half with a big sword. And of course nowadays, like, reading Berserk for the first time in modern times, it's like, oh, the big sword, but it's like, yeah, you don't know that's like where that came from. But yeah, in a few short chapters, you've gone from this. It's like one-to-one perfect. With the manga makes you look at it like Guts wants people to look at him. Like he just looks like this, like dark, edgy dude who doesn't give a fuck about everything in the manga. It seems like that, and then after a few chapters, you realize like, oh, this story is very meaningful and emotional, and so is and Guts is also really emotional and deep too. He's got layers and layers upon it, and then you're suddenly, after a bit of adventure, you're fucking sucked into the Golden Age arc, and you're done. Nothing. That's peak manga for the rest of your life. No one ever forgets the Golden Age arc. It's insane. No. The jump in quality, both in just writing, character, and the artwork, just all goes. It's like he was fucking teasing everyone with the first few, and I still think the first bit before the Golden Age arc is great, but like, you know, it's like Miura was like holding his true powers, or he was just one step away from awakening them, and then suddenly he's just on this fucking like magical moment of creation that can never be like recaptured. I can only imagine what it felt like making something like that that will be like, you know, eternal, pretty much. You know, that's going to stay forever.
Yeah, and that actually gives me an idea. Grafo, you are back, right?
Yes, I'm back. I don't know what happened, but
I don't know what happened either. You're back. Are you recording?
Yes, it kept recording.
Okay, Grafo, and if it's literally 15 seconds, that's fine. But do you want to just very quickly just say your feelings of Berserk, just introductorily?
Yeah. The amazing art, the great story, but like more than anything is like there are more like in manga anime, like really few ones that feel like human, you know, like you can tell like these people feel like real people, and achieving that in a like grim dark scenario, like in a fantasy setting, I think like it's something like really, really hard to pull off. Like the progression of the characters, like they, but I mean, in the end, yeah, like to make it quick, it's just great in basically every aspect. It starts like not generic, but
there's one way it's story. Not great, Grafo.
What?
The ending.
Actually, I think it's the best ending it could have got.
In a way.
I mean, you could argue that based on all the hiatuses and stuff.
Yeah, not necessary. Like I mean, everyone was saying like, yeah, Miura is going to die before he finished Berserk, blah, blah, blah. Like this was something that was being said.
I never took that seriously for a fucking second.
Oh, I really did.
Just fucking hurts even more.
I mean,
it's just a joke. It was just a silly goof and a gaff.
Well, I always took it seriously in the sense that, you know, human life is fragile and people die.
Well, sure, but it's not something you're banking on whenever you embark on a manga. We're not all here like, oh, fuck, Boichi is going to get shot before Dr. Stone ends. Like, you know, you expect a certain level of safety from your creators who are well-to-do.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, if you see the Berserk from the start to today, they were, I think, 32 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close to
when
that.
it hits the 30-year mark, that show entered the realm of like, okay, this might happen. Like,
yeah. I mean,
despite like, I say that as a show. Everyone said that as a show, but in a way, like, Berserk reached to the point that was basically not just a story for a manga, but like this guy life.
Yeah.
So one way or another, it was only finished with him. the story and himself like are like connected to the point. Like I don't think like you can detach them. Like, oh, I want just the story to finish. They
Yeah,
were
I
one
will.
thing.
I will say about I will say about Berserk. One thing that is good about it is there are many places where it logically could have ended if they had just
Mhm.
changed a few things to tie up the loose ends. So
Yeah.
there are a few issues that are just not going to be properly closed, but there are plenty of aspects of the story that were closed, and it's almost like there's 4 or 5 places where you can choose to see that as the ending in a way, and it kind of works. So it's not like we
Yeah.
got totally fucked with this. It's not like, fucking Naruto died when 3 of the tail beasts were still out there or something. It's like
I wish it was like that.
I wish. I'll never get over that, by the way, where it's like the core concept of Naruto is like, ooh, there's these Jinchuriki. You're going to meet 2 of them, or I guess 3.
Yeah.
Out of the 9. But this is not about Naruto, goddammit, no matter what Michi says.
No.
Yeah, but the lack of
hot
ending
take,
is...
Naruto is not as good as Berserk.
The hottest of takes. Actually, that's perfect. That's perfect. Because in a way, you can almost think like everything. We'll get into this. I kind of think after Guts gets his new crew is kind of like that's the Boruto of Berserk in a way.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely different, like tone and aesthetic going forward from there. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, the whole like Fantasia age part of it, towards the back.
Yes.
It's almost like Berserk was a pretty cohesive story, and then we just got a bunch of side stories that happened to come after the end of it. That's a perhaps healthy way of thinking about it.
Yeah, if we didn't get those like companions, Guts crew, and their stories, the manga could have been over much earlier. Because if it was just Guts on his own for the whole time, like he would have very little to sidetrack him from his main objective of just getting to Griffith and obviously getting fucking killed.
Yeah,
I mean, before Fantasia, like maybe you could say after he gets the armor, there's still a chance. But if he'd gotten to Griffith just like, before Fantasia stuff, he would definitely be splattered on a wall somewhere. Like there's no chance. He probably knew that, but he still would have tried. He did. Yeah.
Why don't we get into the, Berserk is very character driven. Like, I don't think anyone would ever dream of fucking arguing with that. No. So that's a good point. Why don't we get into Guts's character a bit? Because the armor is kind of beautiful in that it's almost the apotheosis of what makes Guts almost weird and iconic as a character to me, or one of the things.
Yeah, it's his worldview and ethos like materialized into an object.
Yeah. It was weird to rewatch Berserk watch Berserk.
God, I so wish the 97 one got to the armor part. That would look so fucking sick.
I know. But it's been, when I read Berserk, I read most of it very quickly when I like 3-4 years ago when I was like 23.
Yeah.
And so it's been a while since I read the Golden Age, and it amazed me to see, even from the beginning, Guts he used his sword like a baseball bat. He just beat the fuck out of people. And all the way up till him being a middle-aged man with the dragon armor or the berserker armor, Guts never becomes crafty. He never changes things up. Guts just gets stronger and gets bigger swords.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you swing hard enough, you're gonna fucking win. You just have to swing harder.
And just getting into Guts a bit, Grafo, what about you? What are your thoughts on Guts overall? Let's talk about Guts for a bit.
I remember like how I was introduced to Berserk. Like it was a moment like where I was like really angry at anime, like it's everything the same, like nothing is worth it, like this medium as a whole is shit. I had this friend like, no, you have to watch this, like, and was recommending me the Berserk 97. Like she was like, yeah, you have to watch this is amazing, like the bit. I was like, yeah, I bet it's another anime. Like it's shit. I'm sure it's shit. She introduced
There's no
me
little
like,
sister. What the fuck?
That is a that's probably a
Well-
healthy stance to take on most stuff though. Like that'll serve you better than going into every anime
Yeah.
thinking this is gonna be fucking great, like Berserk 97. Uh-oh.
no.
So, yeah.
And then she was like, okay, who's like, show me like a picture of Guts. Like, I was like, oh, I bet like this guy is like every other character. Like, I just need to become stronger. And she was like, well, kind of, yeah. I told you,
Yeah.
shit. And after months of she push, okay, I'm going like to start reading the thing. That thing I thought in the beginning, like, yeah, it's the guy like kind of laser focus on one task, and oh, I need to become stronger.
Yeah.
It's still true, which is
Still
like,
true, yeah.
I think the biggest trope in like action anime manga, but there are so many layers. Like, why it's that the point? Like,
Yeah.
it just work. Like, there is so much more. Like, oh, I need to become stronger or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like,
I was just gonna say, like it's
his
both
relation.
it's both that
and-
it's done extremely well for
yeah,
that kind of thing, and also how many of these like things we think of as tropes now are kind of due to Berserk. Like,
oh yeah, the
you know,
thing,
lots
like,
of these edgy must get stronger characters. I mean, like look at stuff like Vinland Saga, Vagabond, even a bit like Helsing.
Yeah.
All that stuff owes so much to Berserk, and it's already kind of like considered classic now because it's like Berserk was as old for those manga as those manga are now. So yeah, we've had that time to gestate on them. Yeah.
But
And, with Guts, one thing about him is you mentioned, you know, being put off perhaps by how simple Guts is, and that was something that really jumped out at me this time, especially comparing him to Griffith. Is Guts, you almost, when you're trying to make a compelling character or something, it's so tempting to be like, oh, all these layers of complexity, where
Yeah.
if you take what in the scheme of things is a very simple man and you just really pay attention to what it's like to be a simple man in a complex world, like the amount of nuance and just little emotional moments that come out of that, it can be so much more than trying to have this like super Byzantine crazy backstory, all these layers. It's like, no, Guts is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, he's not very intelligent or charismatic, unlike Griffith, which is the juxtaposition. Yeah,
but there's kind of a quiet dignity to it, and also Guts is real, where Griffith is kind of full of shit.
Yeah.
So I think Guts has a lot more really going on with him when you get into it and see how he interacts with other people, as opposed to this flourishy thing that really has nothing backing it up.
Yeah, no, it's like if you take aside like that, yeah, he's a mountain of muscle and all that, it feels like just a guy.
Yeah.
You know, and like that feel real. As you said, like there is no need to to him for me more than that. And like the way he cares about the characters surrounding him, like for that reason feel more like true in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I'll have some more to say about that later. One thing about Guts it's so cool looking back is, one, it's legitimately rare to have a character as dumb as Guts as the main character.
Exactly.
Where he's not
like
even
Gon.
crafty. Yeah, well, like he has Gon's, like Gon has this devious, like tricky. Guts is not tricky.
No, yeah.
Like at no point does he develop this. He doesn't even have the cunning or the charisma of someone. Like Luffy is fucking dumb, but Luffy can, give speeches and he's crafty and sly.
Yeah.
Naruto's dumb, but he has this supernatural empathy where talk no jutsu. Guts is just dumb.
Yeah, Guts' main strength is mostly from. It's not even that he has like extreme battle prowess. It's more from experience. Like it's not like he's like super good at like analyzing the battlefield and fucking like coming up with sick ideas of where to attack. Like he just knows where to attack because he's been fucking doing this since he was like 5. Like, he's got more experience than almost any other character in Berserk. So it makes
he has
perfect
gray
sense.
hair at like 30.
Yeah, when some like 20-year-old dude in armor who's just kind of big shows up and is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. He's like, oh, I've dealt with this guy 50 times before. I know exactly where I need to shove my fucking sword in this guy and how hard I have to do it.
And a beautiful thing about that I realize, which I fucking love, is Guts having this like bizarrely, his whole thought process is like he's good technically, but it's always, I need to get stronger. I need a bigger sword. I need to get stronger. I need to get a bigger sword. And Miura was so fucking clever, where people make fun of the fight scenes in Berserk of, how they're really dumb and they're really straight. It's just Guts getting pissed and killing people. But a cool thing about that is you can't fight an apostle by being tricky. You just have to be strong as fuck and have a really big sword.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Griffith could not fight an apostle. Like Golden Age Griffith, if you put him in with Zod, he couldn't do shit. But Guts has a really big sword, so he can win.
I mean, fucking even Skull Knight goes around like with his crafty ass fucking, I'm gonna get the Baelitz and all this big plan, decade spanning plan. What does he do when he gets to the fucking God Hand? He fucking fails miserably. All he can do is like swing a sword. Ah, shit, that didn't work. I'm fucking out of here. Back to 100 years of eating more Baelitz, I guess. Maybe next time. There's nothing you can do. It's literally God's will manifest. Like, what the fuck? What could you possibly use? Everything has been created by this fucking heart of evil, whatever the fuck it's called. Like, you can't use conventional tools. All you got to do is max out your stats to a degree that they didn't think was possible. No one foresaw some human dude getting this fucking like jacked and crazy strong, basically.
Or that big a sword.
The cool part for me
they didn't
like...
think anyone could grab that big of a fucking sword and move it. It was like a hunk of iron, man. It's not even a fucking sword.
And real quick, I also love that the sword exists because someone was stupid.
Yeah,
like
to kill
the
a
backstory
dragon.
is that a lord just was having a moment and he memed Godo into making an impractical sword no one could ever use.
Yeah, that's great.
And so it just happens to exist for no reason. Grafo, you were getting interrupted, sir. Go.
It's okay. No, the thing, like, yeah, this is a guy with like put all the points into strength, like it's a mountain of muscle, like bigger than life itself. But in the end, like I remember the part when the moment I kind of got, what's the word, like hook, like trap with the manga.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't think, well, maybe a little, but I don't know.
Sorry.
You just remind me of that hand. I'm sorry. Okay, whatever.
No, it was the part when Sod appear and transform for the first time. Like, Guts it's fighting, but the main focus on that Guts is like this far of shitting his pants.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's really, really scared. And like, this might be a giant dude with a sword that is not even a sword, but in the end, like it's not, it doesn't feel like a character. It just feels like a dude with a huge sword,
Yeah.
It feels human.
I mean,
like the gut reaction. Imagine like any other character in front of a scenario like that. Like very few, like the first thing and the main thing is being like, oh, I'm so fucking scared. Like that's not as common, I think.
No, definitely not. Especially with like everything you've seen of him beforehand, seeing him genuinely like, like trembling basically is, I mean, it's one of a kind, really. I mean, especially like I'm just thinking like we were talking about the 97 show. I think I have that scene like seared in my mind, like the Zod scene in the 97 show. Mm-hmm. Just like the lighting, that like murky, like dimly lit fucking dungeon place with that amazing soundtrack, and just like him in the shadows, and like you just see fucking dead bodies strewn around. Like what the fuck is this gonna be? And it's better than you can ever expect. And I love that Zod sticks around. He's not like this fucking like boss, like initial boss that kind of has to be overcome. He's like a fucking major player throughout Berserk. And he's also a character. He's also a cool character aside from being a fucking big horned badass fucking demon dude. He's like really fucking compassionate about Griffith and has real loyalty and has like a rivalry with fucking Guts.
Yeah, he's the Guts of Griffith's. He's the Guts of the band too.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You can't say that Guts didn't get the idea to get a massive fucking sword when he saw Zod's fucking. I mean, he literally uses Zod's cleaver.
Yeah,
he fucking chucks it in the most badass scene of all. He fucking chucks it from a fucking castle wall, whatever the shit, to Guts, and he's like, use that, chop that horse in half.
It's weird that Guts.
Yes, he knew he could take it. He knew Guts could fucking handle it. He's like, no other man could handle this fucking sword. I know you can do it, little dude.
And we can get into this later, but also Berserk is just gay.
It is.
It's all gay subtext to the Casca is just wading through this homoerotic landscape.
What the fuck do you mean subtext? Multiple dudes get butt fucked. Multiple people get butt fucked. Some of them willingly.
Well, okay, butt fuckery is usually in the context of abuse, though, so I'll give that a pass.
Some of them, hey, you don't know what Griffith was thinking in that window scene.
I think Griffith was thinking just a white vibrating void in his head, but we'll get to that. A thing about Guts, which is crazy, is Guts lived this fucking ridiculous life that almost just through pure chance made him the only person who can handle what was going to happen. Where Guts spent his life as a kid fighting adults, and that was his fighting style. Then when he became an adult, he fought giant monsters, and it was a new phase of what he was doing. Like everyone, you would think Guts would be like, okay, he's a kid, he trains so that when he's an adult, he can fight other adults as an adult. Guts always fought as if he was fighting against someone 5 times bigger than him.
Yeah.
Even when he didn't need to. Then when those people existed, he was ready.
He's the eternal underdog, basically.
Yeah.
In life. Yeah.
Before we get too far from Guts, I just want to say Guts is amazing. And one thing about Guts that just jumps out to me so much, and this is mostly a visual thing. Like if you read Berserk through the Golden Age, you notice Guts taking on this form of like there's a consistency in the way he's drawn. There's such a precise quality to the little features of his face and his scars, his body proportions. I've never felt more about an author like Miura, like loved Guts. Like he really loved him like as his creation. And you can tell that in just the incredible care Miura took in just Guts was perfect. Like Miura had a 3D model in his head of exactly what Guts looks like in real life. And that always showed up in what he did. I mean, not every single time, but 95%.
You're right. I mean, there's a reason why like that fucking there's so many gifs of, Guts like through all his faces just like morphing into each other because he did it like seamlessly. He goes from like this round-faced, kind of babyish looking dude, and he doesn't like suddenly, it's not like there's a time skip and now he has a massive fucking jaw. It's like no, you literally see him like grow into it so seamlessly, and he gets and then after like when you think he's established, you still get those changes like you're saying, the attention to the scars, and the fucking badass. Just when you think he couldn't be badass after so many years, he gets the fucking white thing in his hair. Like how long was Miura saving that? How long was he like thinking, when am I gonna spring the fucking salt and pepper on them? Glorious. Never has so much attention been given to a character, and it's very rare for us to get to like go along with a character for that long of a journey. That's why I think that's a big reason. Not that not to downplay any of the execution, but also like staying with them that long and seeing them change. Like not to throw shade or anything, but like I love One Piece. But that's been going for like 20 plus years. And yeah, Luffy has grown and changed, definitely. There's been events that have shaken him. But for the most part, you can both visually and like personality wise, you can still see the same kid who left on that boat, you know?
Or
Yeah,
like Goku and
he's
Naruto, they got taller.
Luffy didn't really get taller. I mean, he was already 17, so most of his growth spurt. I mean, I guess he can stretch taller. But yeah, you definitely don't feel that passage of time. Like Berserk feels like it happens in real time in a fantastic way. Like you're there and you don't notice it. You know, there's not like a time skip or a training bit. Like you by the time you notice like it's been, I don't know, 50 chapters, you feel like it's been like a year or two. Like seasons come and go, companions appear and fucking die and shit. And the fucking political landscape of Berserk also like changes ever so slightly, you know, all that it really feels like living and breathing in a, which is weird because like you don't think of that as like the main focus. It's not like a world building kind of manga, you know, like it's definitely more character based, like you were saying, but it definitely feels like such a, the Grafo was saying, the tone, it's such a lived in world, and the characters reflect that perfectly because they feel like they're taking the effects of this world like real people, like they're being worn out by it and shaped and molded by it in, yeah, perfectly.
They do. Grafo, how are you doing? Oh, did you have something to say, Grafo?
Oh, no, like I agree really with everything Michi said.
I
Like,
think we're all just really
Yeah.
happy to talk about Berserk because
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's nothing to be upset about. I sometimes see people be
There's
like,
a lot to
this
be
arc-"
upset about.
No, I know, but
Well,
we're
there's some
celebrating
stuff.
Berserk over here. We're not. It was really
Yes.
it was really touching and beautiful seeing everyone mourning Miura.
Hey, we're here to suck Miura's dick. If he sees us wipe our mouths, that's, you know, he can deal with that.
You're not an idol master.
Oh god. Oh, we could get it.
Well, let's talk
I
about
never knew
the
that was actually true, you know?
He didn't tweet once that he
true.
liked Idolmaster and people
I think
held it
it's
against
true.
him forever.
Yeah, but I remember one time someone posted a picture comparing every release of Idolmaster kinda matched with every hiatus of Berserk.
that was what was keeping him going. He was fueled by it.
There have been so many little things passed around about Miura lately because Miura was super private, but he had active correspondences with several other manga artists.
I mean,
one apparently was he had a character he really loved from Nejima, and every time she had like a sexy fan service scene, he would send a letter like saying, "Oh, this was so cool" to the Nejima artist.
I love that.
He had did you see the thing about the Ashita no Joe thing? Oh, yes. You fucking sent that to me. Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of course
that's right. I saw that.
Where
I mean, that's like a retelling of a tale as old as time. Like if you study art history, countless tales of like Da Vinci or Picasso, like their teachers being like, "Oh, fucking snap their pencils, snap their paintbrushes," and be like, you know, "There's nothing else I can teach you. You are the master. You're fucking Netero returning to the dojo." Yeah. So I'm happy that is echoed in Miura, and I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying it's a thing that happens.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's true. I'm saying that it happened.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
That's a saying.
Even if it didn't happen, it did happen, and it would have happened if that had happened.
The Ashita no Joe one was actually very cute because the artist for that is still alive. Did you see his little letter he wrote?
Yeah, I saw he just put Kentaro first with like 3 dots. He just wrote like Kentaro. Like,
well, I saw I read the little letter he wrote, and it was just a very sweet thing saying, you know, I didn't know Miura well, but the time we spent together, I was very impressed with him. And it ends with, you know, someday I'll come over to read the final chapter. And that was sad. That was like the Tokyo Ghoul meme. Sad.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk a bit more characters? Could talk about Casca or I have a lot of thoughts about Griffith right now. What about Casca? Grafo, do you like Casca?
I like Casca.
Do you find her sexually attractive, sir?
maybe I should turn off the recording first.
Ha ha ha.
No.
You see, the funny thing is, I'm so devious and Griffith-like, I would save the Zoom recording, and you wouldn't even know.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You, Grafo, you find Casca attractive. Does she have any other worth beyond that? Go. Grafo, you're not answering.
Yeah, I like Kafka, and yeah, she's pretty, but no, she also has worth outside of the realm.
Go on.
What? What?
Grafo, keep talking, Grafo. I want to know, what is Casca's value as a human? You admitted you find her attractive. There better be other stuff. Go. I will tell everyone.
No, I know this is going to be a lie.
And don't bring up her comedy relief antics after she gets, mind fucked. That doesn't count.
I thought you were gonna say don't bring up her skin color.
Grafo, are you saying her skin color has no value? Are you saying it makes her less valuable, sir? You're not saying enough, Grafo.
If anything, it makes her more attractive. I think we can all admit.
Yeah, I kind of
in her case, yeah, she's like a tomboy.
Yeah, definitely.
Less dark.
I probably shouldn't imply
Tanned tomboy.
Tomboys
is probably a cliche because of Casca.
I think in her case, it's not Nagatoro where it's a tan. In her case, it actually is a racial thing.
No,
maybe I shouldn't say black. Maybe I shouldn't say black women are all tomboys.
I don't think she's. Is she? I don't know.
She's vague.
I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, she's definitely a slave brought from some foreign nation.
Yeah.
Berserk does the thing where there are kind of cultural parallels, but it's never one-to-one.
Yeah, it's like you can see the inspiration with obviously there's the whole big Indian, culture with all their fucking spies and the big sultan dude,
where they sit in the lotus position and it lets them control the weather.
Yeah, and the demons look like those kind of Asian representations of demons with the teeth pointing outwards,
Oh yeah.
So it's cool. I love that kind of
subcontinent.
Yeah. He's definitely pulling from very learned and storied kind of historical traditions. Which is, I mean, of course he did. Look at all the fucking armor in Berserk. People can.
Oh yeah, the whole core concept of Berserk is it's European aesthetics in a Japanese.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it's not just European aesthetics. There's armor and shit. There's pages of people looking at the helms and breastplates in Berserk and being like, that's from this armor from 14 something. This is a 12th century fucking broadsword and shit. Yeah.
Broadsword, is that perfect. The one Casca uses? Okay, in all seriousness, doing this reabsorption of the Golden Age, it really shocked me because I think I bought into the hype around Casca since I read it, or I remembered her more fondly with time. Going back at this again, it's like Casca's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
She's perfect for guts. She trusts Griffith for no reason, and she's just dumb.
She's the OG tsundere. I think 50% of people's love for Casca is the kissing scene, which is contender for best scene of Berserk, maybe.
It's
in how
it's good.
I mean, it's just such a
it's a romantic thing.
It's not just romantic. It's very soft and I guess I'll just say sweet. I mean, tender. Tender is the word I'm looking for.
It's two characters who are really bad at expressing themselves, having a moment of just dropping everything, and it's a
beautiful break in their horrible lives.
The weird thing is, Casca is a good character, but she's a bad person.
Yeah,
or she's not an immoral person, but she's ineffective, makes bad decisions.
She was very much on the turn before the incident.
Yeah, it's not I hate her.
I mean, most of these characters like are dumb and make bad decisions. Like
Yeah.
Guts
Even
is
Griffith.
really, really dumb. Make bad decisions.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
and
Griffith is like, I'm the ultimate strategist, but makes like the dumbest of decisions at one point.
I'm the ultimate strategist. I'm gonna fuck this teenager.
Let me just fuck the princess. The girl that he's going to be with, like
I'm
year
gonna be
from
with
now.
in a few months. I just need to keep my. I mean, Guts just fucked them harder than anyone had before.
God.
So yeah, but anyway, yeah, like not only are they dumb, lots of them are bad people. Like not just stupid. Like and you still like them, like fucking Crocus or whatever the fuck he's called.
I hate Crocus.
Yeah, okay.
Even during the eclipse,
everyone
like I didn't even
everyone
then.
hates Crocus, but you still feel that kind of like, you know, you feel like how Guts feels toward him. Whereas like, yeah, you're a fucking bastard, but you know, come on, let's fucking pat each other on the shoulders and get in there. I mean, you know, when he comes back and they're like, yeah, the fucking, what are they called? His platoon, what is it called? The
Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders are fucking, yeah. That is, I mean, and seeing him like kind of learn to accept Guts in his own twisted way. And he gets killed by the demon from the very first page of Berserk. So,
which is maybe the most
little bit of prestige
character that Guts has ever been. Oh, Grafo, were you going?
Yeah, that is that. I mean,
no, like it's the first.
That's kind of like to throw you off. That seems like it's like to throw you off massive. But yeah, that one doesn't make. Even in that thing I was saying about like Guts acting like that on purpose, he's not really showing off to anyone in that context. He's just fucking this demon. Because I guess he needs to get his rocks off because he's not going to fuck Casca. So
the most monogamous character in the history of fucking anime, except for maybe Simon the Digger.
Yeah, you could just like show him go into a brothel, I guess, and being like, I just need to have sex because I'm tense or something. I don't know.
On that topic, did either of you read the one shot that launched Berserk?
Yes,
Miura's original pilot.
Yeah, a while ago.
What is it called? Something. Is it still called Berserk? But yeah, it's very similar
Berserk
to. I'm thinking of his previous thing.
You see, it was before he had a vision. It's called Mildly Irritated.
It's called.
Yeah, it's called Miffed.
Unfocused rage. Yeah. No, I was thinking of. I remember it being like a bridge between Berserk and his one before that, Violence Jack. Is it called?
It's a fucking bridge to nowhere. It sucks.
Okay, well, let's not be too harsh on the man.
I'll be hard on it like that. Okay, in the world of manga, it's good. In the world of Berserk, it sucks.
Yeah, in the world of Berserk, it sucks.
Compare.
And not just manga, but manga at the time. You know, it's very much of its age in a way which Berserk broke away from, which made it very unique. You know.
You said it tied into his earlier series. Can you explain that real quick?
Well, not directly, but his one before that is called like I forget. It's called like Violence Jack or something. It's much more like Mad Max Apocalypse, kind of like Guns, but it's also like a dude who looks sort of like Guts, and he shoots people with a double-barreled shotgun. And you know, it's like a very like fucking blood punching each other. Yeah, but it's interesting because he goes like from that into like fantasy version of that into let's drop the original one and make this more, you know, adult and mature.
For people who might not know, the pilot, it was a one shot. Puck was in it, which it's weird that he dropped Puck for the entire Golden Age, and he still liked that character enough that he brought them back in eventually. That's odd. But in the pilot, Guts is, I don't know, this monster hunter guy, and he's like this very smarmy, cocksure. He's almost like a 90s action hero. Like he makes little like quips and one-liners.
He's literally based on Ash from Evil Dead, you know, fucking groovy.
Yeah, which I'll give that credit for being a interesting starting point. But like the difference in the character is this: like pilot Guts during a fight will, you know, smile while he's fighting, but it's because he's made this, you know, little quip, or he's like being sarcastic and fun. Actual Guts will smile when he's fighting because he has lost his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Guts awesome.
Too many times.
Guts just goes insane and just fucking hits people until he gets what he wants.
Yeah, he's just like, because at that point, like he knows he's got this, and a big just fucking crooked grin breaks on his break. He can't stop himself from breaking that fucking crooked grin on his face and be like, "I'm gonna go fucking psycho."
I will say one of my favorite things about Berserk is how the monsters get afraid of Guts.
Yeah, they're fucking terrified of him. These fucking ungodly hell spawn suddenly show this face, like this fucking puppy dog-eyed face, like when they get stabbed. They're like like the count in the fucking in the beginning of
the count was underrated, and by the way, the whole thing with Thanos was based off the count. I don't even fuck around with me, Marvel. But the when he pushes green bitch off the shelf, but actually one of my all-time favorite Berserk things, people shit on this arc, but you know the Lost Children arc where children are being turned into
really great.
People are fucking stupid.
They are. And my favorite one, I love Rosalind, lolly moth girl. I love her as a character.
I love her, yeah, and the design too as a monster.
Yeah, she's killer. She's scary and creepy and cute and all that. But one of my favorite parts. Oh, sorry, real quick, Grafo. One of my favorite parts is when they're in the nest of all her eggs. Guts is on fire. He stabs the egg sac above him, and the fucking placental fluid puts him out. And she looks at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like
you set me on fire, bitch.
like she's seeing death and hell in front of her and realizing how bad she fucked up. Grafo, go. I'm sorry.
No, like about like the monsters in Berserk, like they are really scary and blah blah blah, whatever you want. But most of them, like they were once human, and some of that humanity still remains.
Yeah.
That factor enhances everything.
Yeah, most of them still have like their face, like a human face is part of the design. I think it's very. He's definitely inspired by like most good things. Was inspired by Go Nagai and Devilman, definitely. And there's and of course like the monster designs look like that, like big tentacle, big teeth stuff. But also, there's like one of the famous monsters in Devilman is like this tortoise that has like sucks people in, like kills them, and then their faces appear on the shell. And that's definitely like something that I'm not saying it was like he was consciously doing this. I just think it's a really like funny that there's like such a strong parallel right in there, like in this, like heroes having to be like both like Guts and fucking what's he called, whatever, the guy who's Devilman. They both Akira? They both have to become monsters in order to fight these monsters. Like they both are these fucking imposing dark silhouettes. They don't look like the hero. They've both got these scary smiles on as they fucking bathe in blood. And then as they're kind of like forgetting their humanity to be able to fight, it's fucking shoved in their face like that these are humans at some point that you're gonna have to murder. And I mean, Guts is like so like far gone that at some points he just doesn't even give a shit. I mean, he literally kills a bunch of children in that arc. Leaves them in a flaming pile, and he just fucking pisses off because he's like, I do not want to deal with even trying to fucking explain this. I'm just gonna kill the villagers if I stay here.
It's the best part of that is he kills them as demons. Like it turns around. And villagers start coming out. He turns around, and in my brain, I hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm music play as he looks behind him and sees they've turned into a pile of burning child bodies. While he's standing there with his burning sword.
More like Seinfeld music.
And it's like, I swear to God, I didn't kill children on purpose this time.
He doesn't even say anything, if I remember. He just fucking pisses off, doesn't he? Like he's like, because like, what the fuck is he gonna explain? Oh, they had turned into fairies. Even if they had, the townspeople would still be fucking pissed, and he'd just have to probably kill them when they attacked him with a pitchfork.
Yeah, Guts eventually hits the point where
multiple times Guts instinctively kills people by accident. Like when they just come near him or harm him, he just is No, you know, but I mean, like his arm just like swings out and fucking like if he has a sword in it, it'll just fucking chop stuff. Like if he's in the middle of a fight and you and you get close, you're just gonna get fucking skewered. That is the.
Didn't he like smack Casca once by accident?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't even remember. He also bit her tit that one time, but I mean, what you gonna do?
That was funny.
that was so funny. That's another instance of Guts like having to explain shit after the fact.
Yeah,
like Farnese comes back and it's like, why does the retard have bite marks on her tit, Guts?
Yeah, can you think of anyone else? Like, can you think of any other character, like any other show where there was being like a tender moment of like love, and when I said, oh, there was like a slight like mistake, and they had to explain it. Like that's such a rare, fun human little thing, and it's totally in character for Guts to do. I mean, this. Yeah. I was gonna say he was. I was gonna say he was a virgin, but not true. I mean, but not. I was gonna say,
but like at its heart, Berserk is a romantic comedy.
Yeah, it is. It is the most intense romantic comedy of all time.
It is driven by
the adaptation where Hugh Grant playing Guts.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Role playing Guts. Yeah.
I don't.
Styrofoam sword into the bedroom.
Oh, boo.
Come on. I can't move that fucking thing. That
definitely exists.
Yeah, but sure, but that's gonna cost a bit just in pounds of iron, you know.
We're talking about the monsters. I love really conceptual, heavy-handed metaphors in stories. I love the end of Madoka, for example. You know, where like she literally becomes hope and shit. I and the Behelit and the Apostles are to me, that's a big part of what makes Berserk good, because it's this. It's almost like, well, Dark Souls borrowed from it. I was about to say it's like Going Hollow, but it's literally like Going Hollow.
I mean, it is.
They borrowed.
I mean, the dark sign is the fucking mark.
And the thing is, like with the Apostle, I love that it's the world of Berserk is fucking hell. It's a miserable place to be. People try to do just their like best sometimes.
Europe.
Yeah, and you know, maybe physical reality in general, but you know, I don't know. But like this place sucks. It hurts so much to be here. And the Behelit is shut the fuck up, Michi. And the Behelit is like this thing of if you can choose to give up your humanity as like a way to escape from despair. But then kind of the underhanded trick of the Behelit is like it never completely works.
No, it's a monkey's paw. Definitely.
You can do it for a while and you can get rid of despair kind of, but like that there's a nugget of humanity that it won't take from you, and when it comes back it just fucks you. And that's something that's so conceptually beautiful, because like there's so many people in the world, Michi, shut up. There's so many people in the world who have like had those moments of like I wish I could renounce all of this and just like be a freaky monster person and like give like let go of human vulnerability and like transcend it. And that's like an idea that shows up over and over. And like the real thing that makes Guts heroic is like he's the character who never like really does that. I mean, or he does it for a while and then gets over it.
He literally has that line where he's like, "Me, I'm a human. I'm not. Don't lump me in with you."
With you faggot ass
monsters. Just the greatest line ever.
God bless.
He's the only guy. He's the only character ever who could look at a bunch of demons and be like, "Fuck, fags." Yeah. He has every right to say it.
But
I agree with everything you said.
Oh no, with the Behelit thing, like it's one of those things. Like it starts. Like at least the first time it appears, like it really looks like Miura. I just watched Hellraiser. Like
oh yeah, it's what definitely.
Yeah, and I really like it. It's basically like the Lament configuration.
Yeah, exactly. It's this fucking cosmic horror key. Yeah.
But it's like that, like the fact that all of them still have some part of humanity in them it starts becoming its own thing, like diverging from that original concept, that it kind of make it like really, really unique in a way.
Yeah, that makes the monsters like all the more scarier in
Yeah.
a way. Like they're not just these dumb goblins coming to run at you from in a cave and you have nothing in common with them. It's like many of the you could be this creature.
One of them.
Yeah, and knowing like that they did what it takes to become like this. It's like you can say a lot of, they're definitely horrible people and you shouldn't admire them. But at the same time, this is a foe that has some strong convictions that you're about to face.
Mhm.
This is not someone to be taken lightly. This is not some guy who is good at fighting. This is someone who was willing to give up so much just to get, strength.
The one thing about Berserk that the edgy, I don't know, masculine or the grim dark shit, it hits so much harder because Miura just has that human heart in the middle there. He knows when to hold back. Like part of the thing, I have a theory that like slipping in little stripes of femininity like helps you have ultra masculine characters. Like Netero doing the heart thing would be an example of this. And like how his ultimate attack, like it's the love of God encompasses you, and that's how he kicks your ass. Like I think that helps, and that's a big part of Guts's character too, where like the vulnerability and the ways that Guts is weak and not masculine, like really make the tough guy shit make more sense, and you understand it.
Definitely.
And one thing, like the Count character, the first apostle,
Mhm.
I love that bit where it sells you on this guy. Oh, this guy fell into despair. He forsake his humanity. He said, I'm going to just give up all my humanness to escape from this really bad thing that happened to me and like overcome it. And then right at the end, they pull that last punch. And when they go to get rid of his daughter, he's like, no, I won't do it. And he gets fucking destroyed for it. And it's like, that's where they let you know this is what Berserk is.
Yeah.
It's like there's this little, you can't do it. Like all these characters in Berserk, like they're trying to live these monstrous lives to like overcome what they're doing. But so many of them, they just have this little like kindness or empathy or attachment inside them where it's like, no, I just can't. Except for Griffith. Except not Griffith. That's that's where that falls apart. Kind of. The I feel like I'm going to get into Griffith soon here. I might say a bit more about Guts. Grafo in particular, because you've been talking less. Anything about what we've talked about so far you want to bring up? Anything you like to say?
No.
Are you fucking shitting me?
Sorry for this.
Oh, okay. He's saying he can come back. Oh my god! Oh!
What happened with Michi?
He said PC fucking died. Which in my head canon for this is it's a laptop and he forgot to plug it in.
Oh,
I have no way of knowing if that's the case. In my heart, I believe that. In my fucking behelit, I believe that's what happened. Oh no, he probably fucking did. He fucking unplugged his PC to plug in his chip fryer to make his lunch, and now it's tubbing back on him. That's what. Oh, he says he'll be back. I will. I am the behelit now, Grafo. This is it. I am now Femto. You have fallen into my trap. This is the despair event Verizon. I've had it. I'm betraying you. This is what life is now. Son of a fucking cunt. Okay. Why can't anything ever just work? Why can't life ever work out? This is what Guts, this is what Berserk is about, Grafo. It's about how nothing works. Grafo, I actually, I related a lot to Guts I still do. I just relate to Fantasia Guts more now. I am Guts Grafo. That's why we're doing this.
Oh, okay.
Because he understands that how hard life is and how nothing works and everyone betrays you and you fucking almost die and shit happens and you kill people by accident and like life is horrible and then you just have to keep going. Like that's how it is. Grafo, do you disagree with me, sir? Go.
Not at all. No,
yes, I'm always right. Go.
No, but the thing is, like, yeah, Berserk, it's like a horror. If you're in the world of Berserk, you're fucked. Like, the chance of someone dying is basically, you're going to die, and probably not a fall, but a horrible way. Like, everyone there is fucked. And a horrible world, like, make people do really horrible things. But I think, like, the message of it in a way, like, shaping in the form of gods is like, regardless of all that, like, the answer is like really, really simple. Like, and one note is like, okay, you have to keep going. That whatever. It's just that. And hold your humanity and move forward.
Yeah, just like Attack on Titan. You just keep moving forward because you were born into this world.
Yeah, what that's about Attack on Titan?
Oh, that's how it ends. It ends with Eren just autistically charging, and that's what he says. It's like, I'm just going to keep moving forward because I was born in this world. But you see, the problem with Eren is he thought he was smart. Guts accepts that he's stupid. Like he doesn't try to understand things. He doesn't have plans. Guts is just, I'm just going to keep hitting people who get in my way and I will eventually live, maybe. And it's like, oh, you threaten my people. Bam, get sorted. Oh, you fucked with my girlfriend. Bam, get sorted. He doesn't have a philosophy. He doesn't pretend to understand shit like Griffith does. He just keeps moving forward.
No,
that's why Griffith sucks.
Yeah, it's not just like, he don't pretend, like he's really aware, like everything out there is like way bigger than him. He's aware, like he can't understand, so just move forward.
Yeah, and the thing is, no one understands. The people who think they understand are fucking lying. They're just making shit up so that they can justify, sacrificing people for their kingdoms.
Yeah.
No one understands. Like, is there a person, Grafo, we live in the Berserk world, kind of. We just pretend we don't.
Well, but with internet, that's the only difference.
That makes it worse. That's the real Behelish.
So our world is worse than the world of Berserk.
The God hand is Google.
Were you surprised Bezos is the king that fucks the case?
I'm sorry. Grafo, give insight. I'm going on a tear because I'm so fucking mad. God damn it. I hope you don't feel like Grafo. Actually, this is funny because like we're doing a podcast with like the two people who have eaten like more shit than anyone else involved with the podcast. In your case, it was totally undeserved. Like Michi is always late, so fuck him a little bit. But
so really sorry for that. Like it went so overblown. And also, I listened to the podcast. It wasn't like that huge of a thing.
Of course not.
At least in my mind.
No. It's this. It's someone is fucking Griffith or thought they were until they fucking choked and ate their own dick. It's like someone, thought, I'm fucking perfect. I can't be, everyone else is just pebbles on the road, but you have to have the strength to back that up. And who's strong? Guts. That's who's actually strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
I'm just ranting now, Grafo.
No, it's okay. This is the runtime until Michi comes back.
Yeah, this is now the green identifies way too much with Guts podcast. Grafo, have the next thought.
Going back to Berserk, Guts, it's dumb. He knows he's dumb. Like he only needs to live with one clear path. But who's really dumb in all this is fucking Griffith, that he pretends like he's the master maneuver, and then for one single thing, like everything crumbles. Like he believes he's outside of that realm. Like, oh yeah, everyone's stupid but me. Oh,
Fuck.
hello.
My
Wow,
back.
this
Hello?
is just like with, you know what? I'm gonna just say this. Welcome, Femto. That's what this is now. Grafo
My
is Roderick.
computer's never fucking done that.
No.
No, of course not. It's causality. It's fucking I tried to do something. And so of course they conspire. The transcendental entity like God conspired to fuck with my podcast.
It says I can recover the project. Hooray.
Just try to preserve that if you can. We were talking about how life is fucking horrible and how I am guts and no one knows that. But are we or is this the truth? Are we all guts? Or are some of us
continuing
Griffin?
the recording.
Yeah.
Good.
We should be gods. That's the way.
We should try and be guts, but many of us will be Griffiths.
Yeah. Maybe Griffith is guts, but he doesn't know it.
Not anymore, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say before I got murdered was before I got sacrificed to the God Hand.
Michi's behind a door with a sword pinning him to a wall.
That is another scene. That is a scene that I like even more in the anime because of the sound design of the kid coughing.
Yeah.
Shit is really fucking heartbreaking, and then he holds his hand.
That's also we can get in a minute. I think that whole scenario really shows the relationship with Guts and Griffith. But
but hold on. Let me say this thing before the bail.
I was giving you the floor, Meech. Go.
Okay. I was gonna say how fucking perfect the Bayonet is. Not just like the mechanics of how it works. Like Grafo was saying, it's got this like Hellraiser fucking body horror kind of aesthetic. But then, first of all, it's one of the biggest like oh shit panels of Berserk is when you see for the first time the fucking face turn into a normal, crying face and just open its mouth. That fucking expression. And then you see that, and what do you cut to like few pages after? You're in the fucking Golden Age arc. And the whole fucking time, one of the main characters has one of those dangling around his neck. Like it's such a perfect little, it just keeps you on your toes in the back of your mind. You forget you're having so much fun with Guts and Griffiths throwing water buckets at each other while he's naked, and then it suddenly pulls you back. You see that thing in his hand, and you're like, that fucking thing. I know what that fucking thing's gonna do, and it's not gonna be pretty, no matter who the fuck uses it. Oh god. Glorious
and
device.
Griffith becomes like the one fucking guy who manages to pull off. Like he's an apostle who actually does it.
Well, yeah,
he does it on the
escapes. He does it on the fucking he does it on the special eclipse though. You know what I'm saying? Destiny had a fucking check written with his name on it. For that guy. Yeah, I mean you can't say that he didn't suffer for it. He did. He went through some shit, not as much shit as Guts, but
Also, it was entirely his fault.
Yeah, it was his fault. True. But I mean, can you say Guts' suffering isn't his fault? No one ordered him to stay with the Band of the Hawk, now did they?
Yeah.
No one
Guts
forced
didn't
him
want to get Donovan, why did he have such a tight little ass as a young lad?
Yeah, it's his fault for strolling around camp in those tight trousers.
Yeah, that's how that works. Fucking let's real quick, let's talk Gambino, because Gambino is one of my
childish Gambino.
Yeah, all-time like favorite characters. Not that I like but I no. You're gonna shit on motherfucker. No, I hate Gambino as a character but as a role in the story, he's one of the best characters ever in terms of the fit between like what he delivers and what he is.
Yeah. I mean, he's a perfect little fucking mountain baby Guts has to overcome.
Yeah, and I actually, if you remember, I did that Vinland Saga video, which you don't because you didn't watch it. But if you remember that,
I've read all of Vinland Saga, unlike you.
Cool,
bitch.
Oh, that's a good point, sir. I'll need to do that sometime. Like part of what I did that is part of why I wanted to do that video at all is I loved, not him, but the character of Gambino. Like it meant a lot to me when I read it.
Are you thinking of Askeladd? Yeah.
And Askeladd, where I love that so much, where it's like, oh, Gambino's like this creepy thing where like the person who raised Guts tried to kill him. And that's like horrifying. And then you go to Askeladd. Yeah.
And he got him fucked.
Oh yeah, and pimped him out to Donovan.
Literally, like as if that scene wasn't bad enough. Then a few chapters later, it's like, oh, it's even worse. Your dad fucking sold you out. And they also look similar now that you mention it, actually. I hadn't thought of that. I mean, minus the beard for Askeladd. They kind of look the same. Yeah.
And I loved Askeladd because it was so cool because it's like, oh, Askeladd is like that, but he actually secretly does kind of care about the people around him.
Yeah, he likes his crew.
Yeah, it was almost like this kind of redemption thing where like there was Gambino, and then Vinland Saga is like the lighter, less dark, like less tragic kind of sister story to Berserk or inspired by it.
And it's definitely a daughter. It's definitely a son of Berserk rather than sister's story.
I mean, the whole conceit of my video was, like a dark story Berserk is where like the world is fundamentally corrupt, like to the core. And like a sad story is where, the world is not fundamentally corrupt, but bad stuff happens in it. And you have to come up with a way to rationalize that. Yeah. And I really latched on to the character of Askeladd in that story because it was almost like this resonance of, Gambino meant a lot to me when I read Berserk, and then Askeladd is like this, it's the child story of Berserk, and like the dad character is like in a whole different direction. I really like that. I'm just fucking rambling now because I'm so fucking pissed.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm reticent to like start talking about like parallels and stuff with other manga because it's so like influenced by Berserk that it's kind of pointless. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely I wouldn't be surprised if Askeladd is like somewhat based on Gambino minus the
it's almost impossible not to be in some fashion, just because they're obviously influenced.
And he died being stabbed by a sword, just like Gambino.
I love that so much. Where like that's like a platonic form of Askeladd being a fucking dick. Where Askeladd, this is what Askeladd does. He kills people's fathers. Like, but this is where it becomes fucking brilliant. This is where it becomes brilliant. He kills Thor's. He kills oh my god, the main character of Vinland Saga. I forgot his name.
Thorfinn.
Thorfinn. He kills Thorfinn's father. Then he kills Canute's father figure. Then he kills Canute's actual father. Then he becomes the father of both of them and kills himself.
Yes. It's
beautiful.
I mean, that's true. He literally kills people. He literally kills people's parents to become their parents. Like that's the end game.
But between Thorfinn and Canute, they collectively had 5 father deaths in aggregate because of Askeladd.
He has the most awkward system of adoption ever put to practice.
Oh yeah. We better say some things. I'm sure I'm going to get into Griffith. A few other things I wanted to bring up. I mean, maybe you guys will bite on some of these. Yeah. One, the Keen flipping and having the heel turn was like one of the saddest parts of the story to me.
The king?
Yeah, the King.
Yeah, that is very
creep.
He is. I mean, they kind of made he was kind of forced into becoming a creep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's like one of the few genuinely nice people in Berserk. Like early, like even if the courtiers and the nobles are all like, backstabbing assholes and the queen's a bitch and shit. Like he's just like, I just want what's good for the people. But he
was
so fucking
all
cucked.
they had.
He gets yeah, but he gets so massively daughter cucked, which shouldn't really be a thing. I mean, I feel like he overreacted. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like at that time, I mean, it's not like some random dude just like broke in and raped his daughter. It was like consensual with a noble, pretty much. It's not like the biggest fucking scandal. I mean, like he's probably got a bunch of fucking illegitimate children off somewhere. Whatever. But he goes nuts. Is he? When does he die? When does he die?
Eventually, after that happens, he rapidly ages and turns into a skeleton.
He's like a mummy skeleton man. But is he still alive? When's he still alive?
He dies actually not too long after his role in the story, I think, where he has a vision where he realizes that he hated being Keen. And the reason that he brought Griffith into the fold was because he wanted Griffith to take the Keenship away from him someday so he could be free. And then he has a dying dream. And then Charlotte steps in. And Charlotte actually does pretty good given her circumstances. I give Charlotte credit.
Charlotte's the princess, right?
Charlotte.
Yeah. She does well for herself, I would say.
Yes.
What
about you, Grafo?
Yeah.
I'm just losing my shit now. I'm sorry. Graf, are you there?
Oh no. Now he's been sacrificed to the
God damn it!
to the god.
He can't keep getting away with this.
You're the one who keeps. You're probably the one who keeps giving up all these.
God damn it!
Oh, there he is. He's
no! Watch him drop out. It's like when the guy from the fucking Band of the Hawk who wanted to make dresses like shows up during the eclipse briefing, like, "Hey, Guts, I'm kind of alive," then fucking dead, like everyone else.
Do you mean the big guy?
You guys didn't hear anything I said, right?
We can hear it right now, but we didn't hear you for a while.
I was talking to like 45 seconds ago. I'll just say your thing to Michi. I can hear you.
Yeah, no, it was a while ago about the Gambino thing.
All right.
That basically, Gambino was forgot like his father figure thing, but Gambino so got more all the time. Like
he was a terrible person.
Is that a word?
Sorry?
Liability?
Yeah.
Like she has something that it's there, and I think like it was nice to see like in the middle of the golden age, Gambino ends betraying gods and all. When everything started like going south, is the moment gods hear the talk of Griffiths that I only see people as equal only if they they have a dream of their own or blah blah blah.
That's right.
And it's the same story again. Like someone gods look for
he looks up,
a
he
friend
admires
or
someone.
a father or something. I'm finding out like in their eyes I'm just like stuff like a
he's just like he's expendable. They don't see him as a person. Even like both of them don't really see him as a human for different reasons. Gambino sees him as like just like this
a burden.
He can be useful in battle, but he's mostly a burden. He's mostly like cannon fodder for him. And Griffith sees him as an important chess piece, but he's like even if I lose him, that would be bad, but I can probably make up for it. I can adjust my plans to account for that probably. It's like when you lose your fucking queen in chess. Like, it's a bummer, but it's not game over. I can still make do. Yeah, that's
It's never
he's been
game
playing
over.
chess. He's been playing chess for years. Guts was playing checkers, but then he turns out
Guts is
that
still playing checkers.
Then he finds out Guts decides to do something about it this time instead of just stabbing Griffith in the neck. He thinks, oh,
Yeah.
you think I'm a worthless nothing human who's just gonna do your dirty work for you? I'll show you how fucking deep I can be. And while you've been fucking ignoring me, while you've been pressing around in noble balls and shit, I've been fucking chopping logs, and I'm gonna make my own way. I've outgrown you, motherfucker.
Gotta break your fucking gay ass
Yeah.
saber that's all noble and curvy
Yeah.
with my giant goddamn penis sword.
Yeah, exactly.
Take that, you.
They
you
were
fucking fruity villain.
sword fighting, tips touching in the snow. Yeah, and try and stand on this motherfucker.
While Casca was off
while
to the side,
Casca
just
looks
crying
on.
about nothing. It's like, Casca, on some level, this is your fault. I don't know how, but it is.
And then that's kind of awful that like Guts doing that. Guts for once in his life, like taking this strong stance and fighting for himself is what kind of seems to cause the end of the world and horrible things for everyone he loves.
Yeah,
I'm happy no one really throws it at his face because they don't have much time to, because they all
everyone
get
who
fucking
knows
eaten.
is dead.
Yeah, exactly. Rickard doesn't. Yeah, but Rickard could be like a bitch about it. Casca could if she could talk.
Yeah. It is funny. They do.
It'd be funny if Skull Knight showed up and was like, "You really fucked up, bro. I saw that shit. Yeah, it's on you." Yeah.
Skull Knight points with his pointy gauntlet, like, dude, that's cringe.
That was pretty cringe. You should have just like been friends, and I wouldn't have to deal with this fucking garbage anymore.
Oh fuck, we should. That is such a good scene. That was my the duel in the snow was actually my background for a large portion of me making YouTube videos.
Best panels of any manga, not just Berserk, any like most like instantly recognizable,
it's
iconic.
so fucking good. Graf, you saying something?
Yeah.
No, like that's so iconic, and
yeah,
the point where after it everything goes downhill. But it's also the moment like you can tell first. I mean, you can tell from afar already, but the point like when it's clear that Griffith is just full of shit and doesn't really believe what he says, but because like he was, oh yeah, for me, Guts and everyone else are just like pawns in my master plan. But obviously, like the fact of Guts leaving, it's proof like it was way more than that.
Yeah,
as you said, like if it was just a piece, like he can replace him.
He could never have accounted for that because he doesn't see people as like entities of their own with their own desires. Like he could never imagine someone like outgrowing him and becoming strong in a way that he hadn't foreseen, like outside of his view. Like if for him it was like, while I wasn't paying attention, suddenly this thing has gotten out from under me, and also I've been hit with a double shock that I didn't know that losing him, I thought losing him would just be like losing any other soldier. Turns out I just lost the only fucking thing I ever cared about, and I didn't even know I cared about it. And yeah, I'm fucking punished, Griffith. I'm gonna go stick my dick in something.
The thing about Griffith, I guess we're gonna start getting into Griffith because Griffith is really, he's what fucking got to me this time. Where you want to say something, Michi?
No, I was just remembering a few months ago. I think we were having like I think you were kind of being a proponent of like this, not in full earnestness, but like Griffith did nothing wrong, and I feel like that's a lot of like people's like initial is like Griffith sucks. Then they read lots of Berserk and they go like, I can actually see something of Griffith, but then they go back again and they go, now wait, I've been caught in his honeyed words again. Because he is full of shit in the end.
It's weird. I took It's so strange. I kind of think the thing with Griffith isn't he's full of shit. I think Griffith is empty in a way.
Oh yeah.
Well, one thing first off, I think Guts and Griffith are a lot more similar than either of them really acknowledge. They're both men that are really driven by instinct. They don't really have a philosophy.
Mhm.
They just kind of do stuff. And both of them get interrupted from their plans by these human urges that just kind of take them by surprise. Griffith sees himself as this really mechanical, I have one goal, that's it thing. But that only works when he has time to make decisions. He does have human like he actually does care for Guts, I think, even if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Where like he jumps over that, I don't remember what it was, but Griffith threw himself into danger to save Guts just on instinct. And I think Griffith probably kicked himself in the ass for that later, or he would have if it hadn't worked out.
Yeah.
And because Griffith has this plan of what he wants to do, but his human side jumps out and interrupts it. And I think that's the same thing with Guts. I think just the thing with Griffith is partially is that Griffith is smarter, so he's much better at rationalizing things.
Yeah.
And I think Guts responds to much more immediate things. Like Guts always responds to other humans in a way that Griffith doesn't. And I think that's almost the real difference between them, where like Guts has this in his heart, like, other humans are goals in and of themselves. And Griffith feels real compassion for other humans sometimes, but he never wants it to interrupt his plans.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, it's a very narrow difference separating the two men, I think.
Yes. I think Casca kind of spells it out in like how she and probably most of the Bandit Hawk feel about him, where it's like he's such a shining beacon, perfect, obviously he's gorgeous, like feminine looking with his big fucking hair and shit. But that makes him even more distant to them. Like he's this far off, like unachievable concept, like this angel kind of thing, and they can't like relate to him in that way. Like he's more of a symbol for everyone. Meanwhile, Guts, he like really sits down with his raiders and just drinks beers with them and is always like arguing with people and shit, like he's not off in his tent making plans. And not that Griffith didn't like mingle with his troops and stuff, but it was very calculated. And I think they kind of felt that, whether they knew it or not, like that he was there because it was his duty, whereas Guts just felt drawn to people, even though he definitely would never say that, and most people wouldn't assume that, but he kind of does like drift toward people and care about them naturally, even after all the stuff that's happened to him. Whereas Griffith stays away from people consciously. And when the few moments where it's like it cracks, his facade like cracks and he lets some like attachments slip in, he hates it. He's like, fuck this. What the fuck? How could I like grow to like someone or consider them my friend? I need to get rid of this flaw in my system. I need to become a fucking god creature and rid myself of all these human fucking sins.
The thing about, I think you're basically onto something with Griffith there. I think the thing with Griffith is it's not even that he doesn't care about other people at all. It's that he doesn't take other people seriously, and he doesn't let them affect what he's doing at all. It's just he makes the choice, and there's no real back and forth with other people. It's just, I make decisions. If you want to be with me, you can make your own decisions if you don't interfere with my decisions. But what you say doesn't affect me. Like I might act in your benefit, but I'm not going to listen to what you say.
And of course you're going to go along with me because I'm gorgeous and charismatic and you're a fucking dirty mercenary dude. And I pay you and we win every battle because I strategized it. What the fuck else are you gonna do?
I'm gonna get into this a little if you two will indulge me here for a moment.
Sure, go ahead.
Over the last few months, I read a semi-legendary but kind of unknown blog post called the Gervais Principle. Did you guys see my post about that at all?
No, I'm assuming it's about Ricky Gervais.
Actually, kind of. Well, it's named for him.
Okay.
It's a guy who takes sociological textbooks about the corporate world and his own philosophy, and he uses the office as a way to kind of break down how the world works.
Right.
And kind of what he does is he separates the world into like kind of three groups, or at least the corporate world. He said most people are what he calls losers, where not in the sense that they're social losers, but they are not trying to win at life.
Yeah.
They see, they see the fucking heavy-handed competition people get into. That's something other people do. They insert themselves somewhere in a structure and they just try to live their life. They're not trying to win. Above them is the clueless, where the clueless are people who they take the mission of what is going on in the organization super seriously, and they kind of want to be winners on some level, but they kind of end up worshiping the people above them in a kind of unhelpful way. And then at the top, the organization is led by sociopaths, where when they say sociopath, they don't just mean like heartless, where what really defines a sociopath is they perceive themselves as dealing with reality directly, where like they have dispensed with their social instincts, where if they're nice, they'll be nice, but it's because they're nice. It's not because they belong to a social group that says you should be nice. It's just they felt like that, so they did it. They just kind of act instinctively. And basically the idea is throughout the whole business world, the shape of what happens is driven by the people at the top who are just fighting. There's no deeper meaning to it. They're just people where they have a very stark view of reality. It's just, we live in a Darwinian world. We fight, we get power, we win, we do whatever we want. They realize that, human social reality is very flimsy. They see through it. So they just go, oh, I'll just do whatever I want. I have to take care of the people below me for rational reasons, but I do what I want. And kind of the thesis that really stuck with me about Griffith here is this guy's kind of point was, because everyone but the sociopaths live in this emotional connectedness with each other, where they operate from this sense of belonging and, sharing ideas and validation with each other. And the thing that made this so interesting was it said the people who are not sociopaths will look at the sociopaths, and because they don't realize the sociopath is just a void, it's just an animalistic creature doing whatever, they will project their fantasies onto them and craft up these massive narratives and put all this meaning on what they're doing, when in reality, they're just fighting. And after reading this, I watched Berserk again, and it amazed me where if you listen to Griffith never really claims to be doing anything. Like everyone around Griffith is constantly elbowing each other, like Juno or that acrobat guy. When he meets Guts, he's like, oh God, Griffith, he sees something deep in the world that, us normal people don't. That guy's up to something. He's building something.
He's always
special.
staring off into the distance. Yeah.
And Casca looks at him and goes, oh wow, he's this hero who's taking care of us. And Griffith saved Casca. And when Casca pressed him for answers, he really just didn't say, he just smiled. And Casca put all this meaning on the Griffith, where Griffith was really just, Griffith just does stuff. Griffith is just a conqueror who
she filled in the holes.
Yeah, Griffith,
to appeal to her. Yeah.
Griffith has nothing going on the inside other than I am a conqueror. I conquer shit. I'm going to be a king someday. And I have some moments of empathy, but they pop out randomly. I don't really like them. And everyone around him is constantly putting these meanings on him that he never fucking says it. Like
for
nowhere in the
Guts.
entire story does Griffith actually say he's doing anything other than just trying to be keen.
Yeah.
And when I read this Gervais principle, it talked about, you know, how sociopaths feel in this, they're like in another dimension passing by normal people where everyone's trying to construct narratives, but they're like, no, it's fake. I'm just trying to win.
So basically, when Griffith invited Guts into the band, he thought he was just getting another Clueless, but he had accidentally invited another sociopath, just a very different kind, into the midst, and then it backfired on him.
I don't think so. Like, I think Guts is like a loser.
Maybe he made
level.
one. Oh yeah, I guess.
And though here's part of the thing. The weird tragedy, and I know I'm getting in the weeds here. I might cut this down, but this hit me so much I had to talk about it. He talks about, the Gervais principle guy talks about sociopaths are void of meaning, but because they cause these big shifts in the framing of the world, because their power struggles with each other, which are just fighting, it results in this scaffolding of conflict that everyone else projects meaning onto.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, even though they are not even pretending not to be cynical, they become these fountains of meaning and truth for everyone around them, even though they don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
And they said, like, Clueless, like the middle manager people who look to them, they'll often go on nonsensical heroes' journeys where they'll look at the sociopaths as this heroic thing that is imaginary, but they believe it, try to become like them, and then have a moment sometimes where the mask slips. They realize, oh, this was all about power the whole time. I was doing nonsense. And then they like either go dark or they try to like just become idiosyncratic people who go off and do something else. And this reminded me of the scene where Griffith is talking about how he could never be friends with Guts, or that's how Guts takes it.
Yeah.
It hurts so much it hurts so much to watch that, because it's like Guts doesn't understand. Guts looks at Griffith as like, oh, Griffith is so complicated. He has so many big ideas. There's so much to him. That's why he looks down on me. And it's like, no, Griffith is empty.
Yeah.
Griffith looks at all of this as nonsense. The reason he can't be friends with you is because you live in a fantasy world where he's something special, when really he's just some dick who's fighting to become king.
Yeah.
It's like the barrier between you is that he's empty and you think he's full. Yeah. And like that fucking blew my mind when I watched it, because it's like, oh my God, Guts and Casca are like craving belonging with this guy, where the reason it doesn't work is because they're actually full of emotion and he's not.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's actually less than them, but they're perceiving him as higher up. And it's got that perfect visual. That scene has that perfect visual where he's like in light near a water fountain with the princess in beautiful clothes on top of this fucking staircase, and Guts is fucking covered in his robe, just having murdered a kid with some blood on him, just watching from the shadows, tired and dirty, and seeing this and listening and being like,
and part of the assassination thing, which plays into this, is like, you can look at that as Guts, like from Guts's perspective, it's, oh my God, Griffith is trusting me and showing me how much he trusts me. From Griffith's perspective, it's really, I'm testing Guts to see if he's a big enough idiot to not realize I'm putting him in a really bad position for no reason. It's like, the reason Guts can't be friends with Griffith is because he doesn't realize Griffith is using him. If Guts had called Griffith and said, that's bullshit, what are you going to do for me? They probably could have been friends.
Yeah, exactly. He's like what kind of idiot would willingly put himself in a position where if he's caught, if he's not caught, I gain, and he doesn't. Yeah. And if he does get caught, I lose nothing. I just hand him over to the dungeon.
I know I went on kind of a tangent there, but like, it just blew my mind to realize the thing about Griffith is that he is nothing, but because he's nothing quietly, he just smiles, and everyone else, he lets people make up reasons he's special. He doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
All he does is smile the entire show.
Exactly. I mean, if the Band of the Hawk just fucked off and chose a new leader, then he'd be like, what now? And
Grafo,
like his whole
I was just
gonna say, he doesn't even have that, like, you're saying like he's empty, and it's like, yeah, he wants to be king. Even that is like very like iffy, because it's like, what's the motivation again? Guts has this whole backstory of being born from a fucking corpse and sleeping with swords and fighting and killing his dad and, and shit. And Griffith is like, when I was a child, I looked at the castle and I thought, I wish I had the castle. Okay, sure. Fucking Serpico has more motivation than this guy.
Oh god. Well, Serpico is a complex character. Like
I know, that's what I'm saying, but he's not. But he doesn't inspire like a band of fucking mercenaries after him. Meanwhile, Griffith, who has way less than Serpico, has got the fucking Band of the Hawk for ostensibly no reason, no discernible reason.
It fucking blows.
Even though he doesn't, like, it seems obvious to even people outside of the band just looking at it. When he fucking shows up at the king's court with his band, everyone's like, yeah, of course these guys are fucking loyal. Look at this guy. He's fucking noble in the making. Yeah, of course we're gonna follow him. This guy's a fucking genius tactician. He's got everything planned out. He's going places. Nope. He's going to the fucking eclipse to have a fucking ball. Yeah.
That counts as places, Michi. Grafo, you're about to say
but he
something.
didn't plan that. That wasn't his plan. To open the fucking Baelit. He doesn't know what a fucking Baelit does. Old lady just said,
I think he kind of knew.
No, he didn't. He didn't plan on doing it. Also, he just realized it like when he was near death, and the Baelit started fucking talking to him. Basically, before that, someone just gives it to him and says, "This is an egg of kings. You should keep it." And he's like, "Sure, it might come in useful. I'm Griffith. I don't know." No one knows what the fuck. Almost no one knows what the fuck a Baelit does. Like aside from like witch people. Aside from like the witches and fairies and Guts because of obvious reasons and Skull Knight, most everyone else sees a Baelit. They're like, what the fuck is a Baelit?
Are you saying Griffith did nothing wrong?
No,
because it sounds like an accident at this point.
No, it's not an accident. No. You have to will the Baelit to activate. He did it on instinct. But you do. You have to be like, I'm gonna sacrifice these people. It doesn't happen. You can't accidentally Baelit someone.
I think when it's Baelit time, I think it like telepathically. I think you just instinctively know what's happening.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But just at the moment, not when you get it. Not when he was a kid and he was given a fucking egg. He didn't go, I'll use this to sacrifice them later, and I'll wait for the eclipse.
You're exactly right, Michi. Grafo, go.
No, I agree with Michi. Like, yeah, these were all like circumstances, like lucky coincidences. But yeah, you have to be at one point willfully to, okay, I'm going to sacrifice everyone.
Yeah,
it's that wasn't an accident.
Yeah,
activate having it maybe.
Exactly. He was like given a nuke button, but he didn't know what the fuck it was. And then moments before he used it, he found out. And then in that moment, he had the decision. He had a decision to make. He could have gone, I'm not going to murder all my friends, or I'm going to murder all my friends. And he chose, okay. He chose.
He should have, for example, one thing that I really like about like the moments previous to the eclipse is the moment when they rescue Griffith.
Yeah, broken Griffith.
Yeah, Punished Griffith. You can see like, he's holding to guts and all that, but it kind of looks like he's trying like to choke it.
Yeah,
doesn't have even like the strength to do anything. And
do you not remember
else,
this?
Like kind of interpret it like he's trying like to hug him or something. But
yeah, that's
you can tell like Griffith already at that point. Like
that moment really reminds me. Yeah, that's like end of Evangelion. He reaches out and he's like grabbing like as if he's like someone hold my hand or something. But he's really like if he wasn't all broken, he would be trying to choke Guts. But he can't say anything, so Guts just thinks like, I know, Griffith, it's okay. And he tries thinking like, kill.
and then when he's with Casca, he's going, Ray.
Yeah.
But he can't do that either.
Right. Yeah. He like falls on her and he's like, oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, she treats him like he's like retarded. Like she like pushes his hand away. It's like, you.
He's like a dog trying to hump her leg.
Exactly. Oh my god.
That's the worst. When he comes out and Croak is like, he can't even fucking hold a sword. He's fucked.
Yeah.
And he just sees like everyone treat him. And
Unless
I think
unless we weekend at Bernie's him.
it like infuriates him. Like instead of him being like happy that he's got compassionate friends that will take care of him, that aren't just like turning on him and abandoning him somewhere, they're like trying to care for him and feeding him, and they're still loyal. Instead, the fucking pity he feels, they're not pitying him, but he thinks they are, and he feels that, and it fucking gives him such a rage boner if he could still get a boner in his emaciated cock.
I took it as very ambiguous whether or not Griffith even had a penis at that point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could very well not have a penis. I mean, that would be the first thing I would take off if the crime was sex, you know? Just saying, that's the kind of thing they do at the time. You had sex with my daughter.
Game, me.
You had sex with my daughter.
Yeah, the king was like, no one has sex with my daughter except me.
Except
me. That's oh god. Actually no. Let's talk revenge, where like the big
Which
framing
one?
device.
There's so many revenges.
There's so many.
Story.
Well, the big one. The big one.
Okay.
The only one that really matters. A lot of the revenge in Berserk either plays out very quickly or just
it's very quick. Yeah,
out.
I was thinking like when he stabs the executioner through the door in his tongue with a knife. You know.
Oh, that was silly.
That was
or
glorious.
when he stabs Adonis in the chest for revenge for existing. That's the ultimate revenge. The whole thing with Guts and Griffith, where I have interesting feelings about revenge at this point, where it's really clicked in my head. You know, revenge is a very empathetic act in a way, where the desire to take revenge upon someone, it's the desire to preserve some kind of moral unity with them. It kind of means you care about them as a person on some level. And this gets into the Gervais principle thing again, where one thing they said about sociopaths is, you know, when you're dealing with sociopaths, because to them, the revenge motivation is meaningless because everyone is just acting rationally in their self-interest. The concept of revenge means nothing unless it helps you accomplish a goal.
Unless it helps them. Yeah, exactly.
And part of when someone flips, like when one of your admirers looks through you, realizes that at the top of the hierarchy, there's nothing there. It's just people fighting for power. There's a moment where the clueless might convert into sociopaths. And if that happens, they drop the desire for revenge because they understand, oh, morality is meaningless. We're just acting pragmatically.
Yeah.
And it's a really
you didn't mean me any like actual, it wasn't any malintent. You were just doing you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If you graduate to sociopath, it puts you in the mental space where it's like, oh, revenge is a meaningless concept. That like there's no goodness in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look at Guts, where Guts was someone who really bought into Griffith's narrative, saw, oh, Griffith will just make whatever pragmatic decision furthers his goal. Like, that's it. There was nothing there. He is empathetic in ways as well, but he just mechanically does whatever gets him closer to being king. Like, he saw that, and his response was like a hypercharged version, a hypercharged desire to get into revenge. And like, on some level, that's a real profound act of empathy from Guts, where it's like Guts has so much humanness in him, even when he realizes Griffith is a monster. Like, his conception of Griffith as, you know, someone who was in a moral, you know, framework with him is still there, where it's almost like he's Ahab or something. Like, he's going after the white whale, and the sailors are like, dude, it doesn't have emotions. Like, you're projecting your own emotions onto the fucking whale. Moby Dick doesn't care. Ahab.
Yeah, in some way, he's still kind of trying to save Griffith. Yeah, from Femto.
Oh,
I love how he calls him. How he's the only one who calls him Griffith when everyone else is calling him Femto, and he just shouts "fucking Griffith." Because he's like, you're hanging out here with your new fancy pals, you know, with your new artist name. I know you're real. You're still fucking little Griffith to me.
This is getting weird, Michi. I'm just gonna say that.
Why?
No reason. The oh, and that the
think
best
you've made
moment.
it now? You think you've made it big because you're in the God Hand? You got to come
Yeah.
back to the garage band of the Hawks.
Oh, by the way, every group name in Berserk would be a great name for a band.
Yeah, I mean,
but
they already are probably.
Yeah, especially like the Blue Whale Brigaders or whatever. The best moment in all of Berserk, I think, is when Guts sees Griffith for the first time since he got Femto.
Yeah.
And for a moment he chokes and he goes like there was this brief second
where he's like,
I was just happy to see
Griffith.
them.
Yeah. It was like
that was the realest shit that's ever been said.
That's the realest shit.
Yeah.
Because you feel like that too for a second as as a reader. You see not Femto, you see normal Griffith, and you're like, oh, there he is. Ah, yeah, I remember Golden Age. Oh, fuck, the end of Golden Age arc. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's the guy. It's the same guy who did the things. Ah.
Grafo,
and then you get the Rickard slap. Sorry. I'll just shout out to Rickard. Shout out to Rickard for being the biggest pimp of them all.
Rickard's a badass. Oh, and he gets Goto's daughter too, so good for him.
Yeah.
which was like Guts' surrogate family in a weird way. So that's
he gets
that's cool.
Sick ass training as a blacksmith for the rest of the keep him employed for the rest of his days as him and his wife. Yeah.
Oh, and Grafo, anything you want to chime in with?
Maybe he was the one behind everything.
Rickard?
Call me blacksmith.
Rickard?
He
pushed the bayonet into his
might have a solid clue for maybe he was the mastermind behind everyone.
I mean, he was suspiciously absent from the eclipse. What good timing, Rick. Oh, I just have to go over here, pee behind this bush. You guys better get it. Don't get eclipsed while I'm away now.
It is. Oh, don't get eclipsed.
That'd be a shame. That'd be a shame if someone opened the bail lid up, right? Okay.
How funny would it be if like the last chapter of Berserk had been Goto's shack and like a little secret door in the wall opens up and there's like 20 Behelits. And it's like Goto made the Behelits the whole time. By the way, Goto is like the best character ever.
Yeah, I love him in Dark Souls.
Oh, oh, right.
He literally is. Him and a guy called Rickard, who is a blacksmith, are both in just transposed into Dark Souls. No two ways about it. They were just like, fuck it, stick Goto in Dark Souls. I don't give a shit.
Goto.
Why should we design a character?
I mean, why should we?
Yeah, exactly. Just make him 3D. Fuck it. Yeah.
The thing I like the blacksmith, like it has the absolute like laser focus. Yeah, I just want the thing to sparkle. Like that's it.
Yeah, that's all he does.
Make me happy.
Yeah.
So this is going to be my life, and I don't care about anything else. This makes me happy. I want to see the thing sparkle. Maybe
he was different when he had a wife. Maybe because he has a daughter. Maybe he had a really romantic life and then she died tragically and he was left with a baby and he fucking gave the rest of his life to the forge.
He adopted her, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. He just wants
adopted.
an apprentice then. Perfect.
I will say I love Goto.
Man just wants to smith. I just want to smith for God's sake.
Yeah, he's Goto's great partially because he's the one character that can talk shit to Guts.
Yeah.
Like he's the only man Guts respects enough to let him dress him down a little bit. And their weird little father relationship.
I love their
thing
banter.
is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Where Goto's like this like tough old guy where he couldn't take Guts in a fight, but he's
Obviously.
so good at what he does that Guts can't help but respect him. And it's just making weapons. So it's
And
like
who
it's
else,
the one thing
who else
Guts
is gonna
needs
sharpen
that he
your
can't do.
giant fucking who else has a fucking forge equipped and the know-how to make like to take care of your fucking arm and your fucking your big sword.
Guys, we're getting pretty far along. There's a few things I'd like to bring up.
Yes.
One, do you feel that at the very least, I mean, I am not completely caught up with the manga. I'm pretty far in it. I'm in the early stages of the boat arc, actually, ironically, about where the manga is and where the story was overall. Do you feel like we're kind of at least a semi-satisfying place where I feel like it's basically this. I feel like Guts's arc is more or less complete to where you can roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit unsatisfying that Griffith, he's not
It's
really
still out
tied
there.
up.
Yeah.
But on some level, I think realizing that Griffith was never anything special is part of Guts's arc. So in a way, I feel like we're mostly there.
It could have ended in much worse places if it had ended like during the boat or or middle of some climactic fight against the Sultan dude or whatever. Yeah, this way we kind of got like it kind of feels like he went off to he went like he's like the fucking elves. He just went off from Middle Earth into the afterlife. Like he just went into this field of flowers with fairies and witches and was just chillaxing. They gave him the kawaii eyes and some of the panels. And Casca was like restored, if I recall.
I only know things secondhand, but from what I know, she got mostly healed, but things are kind of weird.
Yeah. It's like a spa. Like they went off to relax at the resort, and that's where they decided to stay, I guess. Sadly, but yeah.
Grafo, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I think like, of course, it's not an ending like with the end, but
No.
I think if it needed to stop, it's a good place, like to stop. Yeah, it's not like, as you said, like in the middle of the boat. Like that will be way worse. But I think, and the way, of course, it's going to be open at the end. I think it's like clearly like a really nice place, like to the story to end. It doesn't need to continue. I read people say, no, let's make the, what is the word in English? Like the people who help him drawing.
His assistants, yeah,
like to finish the manga, and
I don't think so either.
That could go either way with me. Maybe it could be good.
Yeah.
It depends how well trained they were and how well they understand his stuff. If he has like detailed notes, that's one thing. If they're making shit up, then no.
If it's like a Wheel of Time, like it's 14 books, but the last 4 are Brandon Sanderson. But they were like they kind of
but they were planned.
They had spoken with each other, and he'd left like very meticulous outlines. Robert Jordan.
Yeah.
And when his wife approached Brandon Sanderson, she was like, "You're perfect for this," and it worked out. I mean, some people say it's shit, but other people say it's like some of the best Wheel of Time books. So
Fupa said it was great, and I'll run with that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not completely shit. Yeah, it's not. It went well. Yeah, it was a good outcome. But who else could do Miura's stuff? Like, yeah, there's assistants, but I mean, I think people are like overvaluing how much of the stuff was them, you know? Like, even if they could reproduce Miura's skills perfectly and draw everything like he did it, just the thoughts of layouts and amazing like panelings and just the placement of everything, and like that snow panel you were talking about.
Yeah,
is there anyone alive who has that kind of like visionary thing? Especially for something Miura that they didn't make. It's his
Miura.
Thing, you know?
Miura survived through an entire transitional period in just drawing techniques. Like Miura was a master of composition back when you had to do it by hand, and then he eventually learned to do it the digital way. It's going to be hard to get people like him again now that we're in a whole new paradigm almost. One thing I will say, again, it's like Naruto. Seamus McFuckface in his Naruto videos, he talks about how by the end of Naruto, you can look at the style and it's actually really similar to Boruto. Because the assistants had taken over so much by that point. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe the assistants were drawing 90% of it, and maybe they're all brilliant. Who knows?
That's kind of what happened.
But
it
could
happen.
I mean,
that happened with
even
Bleach.
If the assistants like can replicate the art style to 100%, like as Michi said, like the paneling, like there's so much more going on.
Yeah, just the blocking and stuff that he thought.
Yeah, some people have brought up a light
like
novel.
What? Sorry.
Some people have suggested if he has notes somewhere, maybe do the final stretch as a light novel just to get the story completed,
See, that's
even if
the
the
worst.
visuals aren't there.
I would
be
hate
fine
that.
with that.
That's pointless. My friend said the exact same thing. It's like, just give us the end in like a book form. What is the point of Berserk if not as the manga?
Well, some of
I
us
don't get it. I don't get it. Why?
some of us aren't 95% visual thinkers.
Okay,
we're
sure,
not
but
all-
Berserk is a 80% visual story. That's why it was. If he wanted to write a book, he would have written a book.
I think Miura
Just
could have
saying.
sat around the campfire telling this as a ancient epic, and he could have done a pretty good job.
Like,
I will
what
say
if
that.
what if it turns into a book and the story is really good, but the actual writing isn't? Because like books aren't just like transposing the story of the comic. You would have to find someone who was actually really good at at
Tailing.
making
Oh.
phrases and how they would would it actually be a good novel? I guess if it's
But-
a light novel, no.
But going back to the end,
That's nice.
I think like the manga ended at the point like if it stops there's like no more is really needed. It would be okay. I understand
yeah.
people like wanting like a real closure, but nah, like this, it's okay.
You know what would be awesome?
It's okay.
If
It's,
Miura had pre-drawn the final
see, that would
page,
be different. Yeah.
and
Just
all
the
they had
final
was
one?
the final
Yeah.
page, and
Oh,
it was
yeah,
almost
no.
and it looked almost exactly like the infamous like 7th cover from I Would Fight a Demon Lord for My Adorable Daughter, and it was like an exact reference of that, but it was with Guts and Shirky instead. That would be perfect. That's the exact perfect way to end it. Which ironically leads me into an actual point. I'm kidding, fucker. I think the thing with Guts is like his real arc was about him getting over what happened with Griffith to the point where he can be kind of a normal guy again.
Yeah, he can get his life back or start it even because he never really had a life. Yeah.
Yeah, he's never going to be okay. Like
No.
even after the wounds heal, the scars remain. You're never going to be okay in the way you would be if the stuff had never happened in the first place. But
that was actually the alternate title for Berserk was just not okay. That's what it was called. He is not okay.
That
He is not.
That would be
there's-
perfect. But I think this is actually it. I think to an extent, like it started with Puck, it got better with Farnese and Serpico. I would actually say I think that Guts's relationship with Shirky
Yeah,
is
probably-
it really I think that really marks the turning point and kind of a satisfying sort of conclusion to his
Yeah.
arc, because if you look at his new companions, like Guts cares about all of them, but his relationship with all of them is kind of weird. Like Puck is this quipster, Farnese is this kind of burden who he cares about, but he doesn't really respect her.
No, I mean, yeah.
Serpico, they have this like Bash brother thing where they respect each other and they've got each other's back, but there's kind of a distance between
Serpico,
them.
he's just happy to have someone who can actually fight for themselves in the group because like most of it is like
Serpico's the
Farnese.
babysitter.
Yeah, Farnese, Isidro, and Puck can't do shit.
Well, Farnese ends
Sierra-
up being the
and
fucking retard wrangler for Casca because
Yeah.
she's the only one who has the patience to take care of Casca's fucking nonsense.
I don't know if it's the
And-
patience or that she's just grateful that there's something that she can do because
Yeah.
she ain't casting no fucking water spells to save
Not
the day.
not anytime soon.
Anytime soon.
And then Isidro is like, he has kind of a weird, I don't know. He has a one-sided
Father
parental
figure
thing
slight.
with
Yeah.
Isidro where he sees Isidro as like, this is a cute kid. I like this guy, but I don't care about him that
He admires
much.
his spunk. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
you got
he's the
you got spirit,
unbroken,
kid.
he's the unbroken, happy version of what Guts would have been.
Yeah,
Where they
exactly.
can never really understand each other, but even if Guts wants to help him out, I think Shirky is where he really gets a relationship where it's like Shirky is going to have a much better life than Guts,
Yes.
but Shirky is like hits that weird little nexus of they can understand each other, they can respect each other, but also Guts is in a position of power enough, or he's enough of the bigger person in the relationship that it's still mostly him boosting her up rather than him like draining her. Whereas like I think Shirky is like the first real relationship where he can have this kind of like seamless companionship with her that like there's an understanding there that he can't have with the other people. And I think that is really the point that marks him like getting over it, where like he has like this like cute little sidekick character who he can just unreservedly be her friend and support her, and there's no barriers there. It's just, you know, it is what it is, which I really like that until Casca comes back, at least.
Well, they could be kind of like I see them kind of like a little family, you know, like Casca is the mom and then Shirk's the daughter, because unlike Isidro
is the less loved
child.
No,
exactly like you're saying, Isidro's much more one-sided. Like he wishes Guts was his fucking dad, but Guts doesn't really see him like that. I think he sees little witch girl much more like that.
Like there's just something like kind of in that relationship where it's like it's what Guts needs to kind of learn how to just like be open to people again.
He needs someone supportive who understands it. Like that's also what people were posting when Miura passed away, was that sequence of them on the beach.
Yeah, I saw. Confession, by the way, I like the shitty 2016 show.
What? Okay. Grafo, are you leaving? Because I'm fucking leaving.
I watched it at a time when it was like like I view it the way I watched, like, you know, did you ever watch like old like 80s cartoons growing up?
Sure.
Yeah. I found it charming. Like I found it charmingly bad. It's like it's cute that they tried, and it's fun. Like it's just fun that it exists to me. I know it's not good. I had a good time watching the first couple arcs at least.
I understand the words.
So hard
I understand,
to swallow that.
Yeah, I understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but I can't. No to everything.
Grafo, other than disgust, do you have any thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah.
Grafo and me love.
Like, aside of like ignoring the part that it looked like shit, like ignoring completely that it looked like
it looks
shit.
so
and the
bad.
directing was also
and the directing is
like
that. Shit. Like ignoring all that bad parts, I think like one thing the old anime achieved in a way like none of the rest even attempt to is like capturing like the vibe of
the mood.
Berserk,
that's exactly. I said that on Twitter too. Like, the mood, the tone, all that shit.
Yeah, the old one, and I think really like capturing the mood is way more important than even telling the story similar to the manga. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But
the 2016 show did none of that.
No,
yeah,
that's what is really funny. That's why it's really funny. It's like people always talk about adapting Berserk is so hard to adapt the tone and the mood because the art style is so blah blah. And like, but that's the funniest thing. Like 2016 show tries to literally adapt by making a fucking filter of parallel line hatching.
I love that so much.
Applying it, and they're like, this is how we adapt the mood. And meanwhile,
that's
great. Meanwhile, the 97 show is like the most opposite of manga line art you can get. It's fucking all painterly. It's all cell.
It's literally painted.
Yeah, it looks like old. Like it looks like a weird like oil painting or something. Yet it captures the mood so perfectly. That is exactly what Berserk would look like if it was an anime. That's it. They did it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, for example, the old one. Another thing, like in part, obviously, it was like limitation of the time it was made. Like it's slow. Like you spend a lot of more time like panning in the scenery.
Yeah,
like
there's very little animation
of the
lots of areas.
Yeah, there is fights here and there, but overall, like it's more slow, and that part of the mood. In exchange, the new ones, fight scene.
Yeah, exactly.
See a camera
clang.
spinning 3,000 kilometers a minute.
He throws a knife
like,
at the rabbit and it flips over.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I mean, I'm sure Grafo, like, just like me, you probably don't even like very much like the movies.
No, I don't.
Yeah, like I don't like them either because exactly those like they're pretty looking, but they don't capture the tone at all. They're like flashy and everything's really bright and fucking sunny, and the animation's like, okay, why don't people look at the 97 one and they go like, oh, the animation, it's mostly just like a still frame of a dude going and shit. It's like, yeah, but okay, look at the manga. The manga isn't okay.
It's
like,
all still frames.
Yeah, no, not that. I mean, like, okay, you look at a manga like Soul Eater, and it's like 40 panels in a row will be just different sections of moves of a fight scene. This is primed to be animated by Studio Bones. You know, we want Sakuga from this. You look at stuff like that. Meanwhile, most of the action in Berserk is a big 2-page spread of the aftershock of the sword having gone through, and you see a still moment of a bunch of bodies flying around. That's the 97 one does that literally, and it works great. You get really good impact. Suddenly they switch this painting of really bold, flashy color of a frame of guts slicing something in half. That 1-to-1 works really good. There's no need to animate it really well because the original doesn't have the best fight choreography. Like it's not like a fucking Kekai Sensen Soul Eater whatever, like kind of actiony thing where it's like, you know, lots of choreographed martial arts thing and weapons and shit. It's just like a dude with a sword and he fucking swings it. Like there's no need to pull out animation stuff. Just make it look really good by, you know, still frames and painting.
You've just given me a great idea. There needs to be a Berserk spin-off where they're running a restaurant.
That could work. That would work better than 2016.
Yeah.
Griffith is the manager. Guts is the waiter. He brings stuff to the table and he's constantly knocking.
Yeah, let's have the guy with the giant cutting implement be the waiter. Like that's
no, he's not gonna have a sword in it. Obviously, it's gonna be metaphorical.
Like the butcher.
He's gonna have a
big
saucier.
No, I see like
prepare the meat dishes.
He has a big
like the cooker.
Yeah, I guess he could be.
Isidro would be sweeping. Oh, actually, you know what? Serpico has the gay broom sword. He would sweep floors. He would be the maitre d'. He would be the maitre d', but also use the broom sometimes. What would Casca do? No, Casca would be a waitress.
Casca wears the maid outfit outside with the sign,
and she's a bitch. She's a bitch to the customers, and everyone has to yell at her
automatically.
Farnese takes the orders to the kitchen, and Sierke is making the soup with her fucking
Isidro washes dishes.
Yeah, Isidro washes dishes.
He does it wrong, and Guts yells at him all the time.
Yeah, breaks plates, tries to sneak off and go smoke in the back. Yeah.
Oh god, there's like a Shokugeki no Soma power up, and like the Berserker armor is just like when Guts has a SpongeBob moment where he's like, I have to cook 10,000 Krabby Patties in the next 50 minutes. And like there'd be red streams coming out his eyes, and everyone else gets afraid and like, don't go in the kitchen right now.
How are we going to prepare this cow into burgers in 20 minutes? Leave it to me.
Oh, there's a joke where someone asked Farnese if they sell horse. Okay, how did this is too far. Wait, what would Shirky do?
The soup. I told you, she got the big pot. She's the head chef with a hat instead of a witch's hat. She has a big chef's hat, and she stirs the pot. Yeah, she has a big ladle. She stirs the pot and puts her arms out and is like, "May the soup become."
Okay, or Puck could be an ingredient. He looks like an onion.
Puck is the rat in the kitchen who's eating this stuff. They're trying to get rid of him. Yeah.
Hell yeah. There would totally be like there would be comedy scenes where Isidro would have to like be on rat duty and he would suck at it all. He'd be like Charlie in It's Always Sunny.
No, okay, you're right. Guts is like he cuts up the stuff, but like it's like Ratatouille. Puck pulls Guts's hair and makes him chop the vegetables.
Oh, God. That would actually be beautiful.
He has to control him from not smashing the counter.
I would unironically love this as a movie. Like that would be hilarious.
Now that Miura's dead, we get like a bunch of
we can just rape his legacy.
They just sell the Berserk license to like Toei Animation or something. They just make spin-offs forever.
Oh god.
Oh my God.
Fucking Christ. Well, okay, I have. I'm
we
glad
made a better ending for Berserk that
Yeah. Oh,
it
that's the
would-
actual ending.
That's the ending.
Yeah.
That's the
They-
ending.
It
They
was
get-
all a dream, and
Yeah,
they
it's all
were
a
actually
dream.
working in
They
a
go-
cook.
No, a dream is good. I was gonna say they get teleported to the future and they have to adapt. Like Griffith isn't there, and their skill set isn't that useful to live with. They need to get a job, right?
Yeah.
Like they think we'll open a restaurant.
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
call it the Band of the Hawk Diner or some shit.
Or it's
Yeah.
Berserk, but like BA with an apostrophe over it, Zerk. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's the plot. Like Griffith starts a small restaurant, then like he goes to work for like a chain.
They have a rivalry with Griffith's restaurant. Griffith has like the posh restaurant, but they have like the cozy diner. You know,
Ooh, the
where it's
Behelit.
cheaper, the food's
The Behelit is the nub at the end of the pen they used to sign the contract to sell the restaurant.
I was gonna say the Behelit was the salt shakers. A red one and a normal.
Oh, God.
Only the king's ones are red. The rest are like blue, I
Oh,
believe.
God.
So it's like blue for salt, red one for spicy pepper.
Oh yeah, they could do a thing where like Charlotte is like the daughter of the guy who owns the fancy restaurant, and they're trying to merge
Yeah.
or something. Okay, I'm going to fucking fucking you know the guy who has
It's
this
called
monologue?
it's called Berserk because they gotta serve the food. Yeah.
Oh
Michi.
God.
You have to draw these, please.
Yes, yeah. This is what we're doing now.
The rest 20 years of my life for
Oh my God!
Berserk
Like what? Like
tribute.
I should write this as a comic, and then you illustrate it, and it's perfect. But we can't
Berserk.
sell it because it's illegal.
served.
Your
You've
dinner is
just been
berserk.
you just been served, and he slams
Oh,
the
the
plate on the
trays.
table and breaks the table.
The trays look like Bazooza's helmet with the fucking thing they lift off of them. Okay, I'm done. Oh, and Adon, you know the guy who has the monologue about the rafts, where like there's no trees in this area, they could never. Like yeah, that guy.
The fuck,
Like he could
I'm
be,
not
he could be a
sure.
wacky rival character or the
The
janitor
fucking-
or something.
the evil apostle who had the army,
No, no,
the
no,
Indian
the-
army.
the-
No.
no,
But I'm saying
I'm
saying that guy comes in and he's like Mr. Creosote, like he's a really hard to please fat customer. They have to serve him like dead bodies and shit.
Oh God, the Indian restaurant is putting us out of business.
with their curries seem a bit suspicious. I think there's
Yeah.
talk of human sacrifice.
Yeah, there's a whole arc
Yeah.
with like racial undertones about them sabotaging the curry restaurant next door. Okay, enough of this. God damn it, we're here for a reason.
Call it episode Berserk. Berserk.
Oh, God. The okay, well that was the best idea. We can just stop now, and we're about to. I
Yeah,
think.
my career's over.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best idea I've ever had. Way better than whatever the fuck I'm doing right now.
Better than my comic. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna say this. Last thing I want to bring up with you guys because this seems fucking important. Miura, like a lot of mangakas, led a very hard life. He was very secluded. In the last, since he died or since they announced his death, which it's actually incredible they managed to keep it private for a while. Good for him.
Yeah.
But he was such an isolated guy. Since he was announced to be dead, there have been so many stories circulating about all compilations of all the times he said, "Oh, I had 2 days off in the last 3 years. I never get to
Yes.
see my friends or my family. I sleep 4 hours a night." Miura, there was a Chan post I looked at where it was under a compilation of them, and it just said that wasn't a life, and that actually kind of got to me. I guess what I want to say is
that's mean.
Well, what I want to say is works of incredible scope like this are possible, but it's almost a guarantee that it's going to really hurt the person who does it. I guess I'll just ask, I'll start with you, Michi. Was it worth it?
Yeah, without question.
Oh, okay. Well,
obviously. Sorry. I mean, I'm biased, of course, because I'm also not that we're not all creative types, but especially that I'm a creative type who's working in comics, which is especially labor intensive, very slow kind of payoff type of work is what I mean. And of course, I'm not saying I'm fucking, I've not worked 1 trillionth of what Miura did, even when he was just my age. But I still feel maybe I'll change. Maybe if I started working as much as him, I'll give up my stuff. But I don't feel like it, and I feel like I don't think he was ever. I don't think he regretted it, and I don't think he felt like angsty or mad about it. I'm sure sometimes he must have felt obviously upset and tired, and that it was unfortunate. But he got to spend a whole life making something of his own, and the people loved and he loved. That you can't say that for most people. Sure, it was hard, arduous, and tiring, and maybe he would have liked to spend more time with some people. But it's kind of like what Berserk is about, is making sacrifices, and he chose that trade-off. No one forced him to be a manga artist.
Does that make him Griffith though? That's a very Griffith train of thought. Sacrificing everything for achieving a goal.
No, because Griffith stood on other people to achieve what he wanted. Miura, sure, he didn't sacrifice others. He sacrificed parts of himself. He sacrificed his relaxation and fun he could have been having in order to. And he was putting in the hard work. He wasn't ever using other people to achieve the means. He was the one do it it was all on him. He made it. He created this on his own with his own bare hands. He wasn't being. Griffith is lazy. Griffith uses other people as stepping stones. Guts does it all on his own. He's the one who swings the sword. He's the one who takes all the hits. He doesn't have other pawns in front of him, doing stuff for him. Basically.
So you're saying he's Guts?
Yeah. Everyone knows he's Guts. He looks like Guts. He fucking told it from a point of view where he basically was telling a life story, and whose other life story did he know but his own?
It is kind of weird. People have made those connections. Also, sometimes I look at Miura and I go, where did this even come from? Because it seems like he lived very little of his own life before he set out to make Berserk. It's like he's almost like I don't know, Carl Jung gets thrown around like this, where it's like how the fuck did he learn the shit that he knew? It seemed like it's more that he was a vessel that art flowed through, and that's how he became him more than life experience.
He was influenced by the movies we mentioned before, and also lots of manga like Devilman or Pygmalion and stuff like that. And he just also happened to be a fucking genius who was at the right place to take these influences and fucking run with them. Whereas, yeah.
And kind of an aside, I bet around the time of the eclipse, being hunched over and drawing manga that much, Miura was probably suffering in the eyesight and hand health department.
Yeah, he looked like Griffith.
I was gonna say Guts loses his hand.
You mean
shit.
Guts? Okay,
yeah, Guts.
Sorry.
I could see Miura having cramps in his hand all the time, and his eyes are going bad, and then he takes Guts's fucking hand off.
Two of the characters in my comic I'm making, one of them has lost an eye and the other one doesn't have an arm too. Is that me just being Berserk copying by accident, or is that
how many have lost their breasts?
Or is that none? I guess they never had them to begin. Well,
that's the joke.
No, I'm just saying, is this a thing? Is this a psychic connection with artists where we all start to fucking not having eyes and hands or not feel them there?
Yeah. Oh, that actually might be. I'm gonna, before we continue, Grafo, I want you to chime in here. Do you think it was worth it? Do you think, what are your thoughts on the personal destruction that Miura probably went through to make this for us? And is that was it enough, do you think?
Well, it's one of those things, the only one who could answer that for real is himself, of course. But for my perspective, I really enjoy the manga. I really enjoy everything. So, but this is as a general, not just talking about himself in this point. It reached one point when it stopped being worth it, because he
Yeah.
can be really successful, but if the toll it's taking, it's like your life itself.
That's
I
true.
don't know. Uh, I don't know how worth that is, but I mean, I think it's a question like can be answered only like in individual basis, because I don't know, maybe he was having the time of his life, like not having a life outside the studio and drawing.
I don't think you can't.
Yeah.
You can't make. I don't think you can make a manga like that if you were feeling totally drained
Oh,
and
yeah,
empty
no.
inside and shit. Like if
Oh no,
he was
I
still feeling
agree.
that passionate, then he can't
At
have
one
been
point, like there is something
horribly
dragging
depressed.
to,
Yeah.
but there is a line that I think like is different in everyone.
No,
You know,
yeah. I mean, of course, I wish that he hadn't. If he'd been able to do all this and also had not suffered like that, of course, that would be the optimal scenario.
Oh yeah.
I this always gets me a little weird because it seems like the message that you take from a lot of things is, you know, you need to step back and be more focused on people and stuff. And it's kind of the thing, you know, Guts chooses people pretty consistently, where Griffith is always, he has these ideas of what life is supposed to be, and that, you know, that's what drives him. But it's always a little weird, like being the joy of being a normal dude, for that to exist for someone, it basically always demands that somebody else does not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the question of like the people who aren't going to enjoy the comforts of just being a regular guy that is,
Yeah,
you know, mostly is just social and doesn't do anything that out of the ordinary. It's like that exists because some people don't do that. And it's like, if you're one of the people who's not going to do that, or who's going to do something really weird, which logically has to happen for anything to happen, it's like, how do you do that without, you know, becoming an apostle, or, you know, becoming Griffith?
Yeah.
Where an interest, part of the thing I said earlier, and sorry, Michi,
No,
like
that's
when I
okay.
was talking earlier about the Gervais principle, one thing that they said that also stuck with me is, because sociopaths, you know, the leaders, they cause all the big motion in the world that everyone else is reacting to. When they go away, and they tend to go away eventually because they're human, they have weaknesses. Like, even no matter how badass Griffith was mentally, he didn't have the self-control not to fuck Charlotte. And then he went away and people didn't have him anymore. And it said, when sociopaths disappear, all the people who were being led by that sociopath, the meaning tends to drain from their life. And for years after Griffith was gone, you know, Guts still looked to Griffith as the meaning in his life, even though he wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking before. Like, he chose not to follow him anymore, and ironically spent the rest of his life literally following him, just different, you know.
And it's hard to look at Miura, where it's like he was this exceptional person who really went for it and did something that hardly anyone could do. And out of the people who could do it, almost none would actually succeed like he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's out there not living a normal life, and he's this font of meaning for us that he himself can't enjoy. And or he has to enjoy it in a really abstract way. And I don't know, there's just kind of a cruelty to that I just hope ironic. I hope Miura was happy, I guess. Or I hope he could look back and feel, you know, it was rough for me, but what it did for everyone else did it. And it weighs on my mind sometimes, where it's like, some people have to do the weird shit for any of us to do anything. How do you not let it like destroy? How do you be Guts without Griffith, when Griffiths like logically have to exist? Which is
weird. I still think that post you mentioned was stupid. Like, that wasn't a life. I don't know Miura, obviously, and I'm not him. Well, as someone who was as my life choices have basically been influenced by his work, I feel like a bit of a connection to him. And for the impression I get from him, I don't think he would have been happy doing anything else.
Well, that's Yeah,
Kind of like
fair.
I don't know. It reminded me of that episode of Star Trek: Next Generation where Picard gets sent back in time and he could change that brawl that made him have when he was so young and brash and he got a fucking mechanical heart and now it's causing him problems and shit. But the life that he would have had if he hadn't made that reckless decision is a fucking boring life that he hates, where he's a fucking loser. Uh, and he has to live knowing that he never accomplished what he set out to, whereas in the real world he did accomplish it. And
It,
and the work, Miura, you're saying like he left it for other people and stuff. Art isn't just for like other people who engage with it. Artists, I think we feel as much, if not more, enjoyment of our work on lots of levels. Not only knowing that we made it and it exists, that we can enjoy it as a thing, but also just the joy of creating is a really special thing. And I don't think he would have chosen a life of not. I think he had the itch, man. He has to have had the itch. If you're that good and that crazy, people have said this constantly about loads of people, Michelangelo and shit. You can always postulate and be like they might have had a happier life if they weren't so consumed by their work. But like, maybe being consumed by their work is what made them happy. I think. Not to discount their family, of course.
I know I'm kind of being weird, but this is Miura dying. I took it, thinking about this made me take it kind of personally, just in the sense of, I mean, Michi, we've talked about this, but over the last several months, it's kind of the realization that like what I was doing, like there was nothing at the end of it. It was kind of, it feels at this point, it feels like the whole YouTube thing was ill-advised, because like what lies at the end of it is really hollow, even if it works out. So I've been like looking around, like, how do you spend your life when you're not a guy who can just like be completely normal? How do you spend your life where at the end of it, it's not hollow? You can actually look behind you and be like, wow, it really mattered and it was worth doing that. And I do feel like Miura,
it's a tough act.
I feel like Miura was someone who did kind of do that. Like, I feel like what he did matter. And the fact that everyone cares so much is kind of like, it shows you like he really affected people.
This isn't just a thing where it's like posthumously people are like showing their appreciation. I feel like he was beloved in his lifetime for most of it, not just by people close to him, but by the world, like by the country, by his own country and lots of the rest of the world. I mean, what price are you willing to pay to become basically immortal through your work? Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I don't think he was doing it. Really great artists, they aren't doing the stuff to make a good, like, the end goal isn't to make a good thing. It's just to make a thing, and it's good because they're good artists. They're not. I just think he wanted to tell this story because this is the kind of stuff that he liked in his mind, and he wanted to do it as best he could because that's the kind of person he was. He was a perfectionist, I feel, and really talented and stuff. And like I don't think he was doing it for the fame or success or whatever, or to be critically acclaimed, but that he also is really nice. I feel like he just made something really personal, most like kind of for him. And he was lucky, and not lucky, I mean, he worked for it, but he was fortunate enough to see people really resonate with it and it become one of the most widely known mangas in history, basically, when he was alive. Like it's been a classic for ages. It's not like now it's gonna be like solidified as a classic. Everyone has loved Berserk forever, and that's got to be a really amazing feeling to know in your lifetime that work you put into it meant so much to so many people.
That's that all makes sense. I probably need to tie this up. We're coming up on 3 hours. Yeah. Last thing I say, Yeah, I know. Well,
It's fun talking about
portion
Berserk.
of that was spent on bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're coming up on 3 hours. It's probably more
we
like
can
2.5.
we can all just talk about Berserk forever. Probably there's no reason to
And
ever
people
stop
will.
talking about it. Yeah, people will
Yeah.
forever. Good.
I will. Last thing I'm going to say. Okay, two things I'm going to say. I identify with Guts a great deal, and Miura has added massively to my life by giving me this. Even
Yes.
if I feel kind of different about it now, like I read it when I was like in my Black Swordsman phase, I guess. So looking at it, shut the fuck up, Grafo. So looking back on it now, it's with a degree of remove. Like I said, like I'm like Fantasia Guts now, but I am Guts. I'm just gonna say I am Guts.
Okay.
If Guts was a chubby guy who couldn't fight.
Yeah.
And
I also-
hey, one sec.
Okay.
And actual last thing I'm going to say, other than I love you, Miura. I hope you're happy in the afterlife. Miura was quite possibly, and I will just say yes, like when he was alive, he was like the greatest living artist. I would argue he's at least on the short list.
No, for sure.
I'll throw
Not just
him out
manga.
for yes.
Yeah.
He produced hundreds of
While I
images
was
that are better than
alive.
almost anything anyone ever makes, and he was the best storyteller in the world, and he was
Yeah.
awesome. And
all
Shirk is
true.
adorable. He wins.
He wins.
I am done. Grafo, any last names you want to say?
I think you
Michi,
pretty much
then okay.
sum it up. So like,
I wanted
Okay.
to just talk about.
Last
said
comment.
it-
You, Michi, go.
I just wanted to say that more important than just how much I love Berserk and how important it was like as a story to me and stuff is how big a part it is in just me drawing and stuff. It's literally like one of the biggest reasons I can point to. And if you look at my stuff, it's got a core of Miura. Like even as hard as I might try to be like to my own style, I feel like I've got the fucking bones of Berserk in my stuff, and I'm so thankful for that, for having experienced it when I did and it becoming a part. I mean, I owe everything to Miura. Rest in peace.